Okay. Okay. I think we'll let's see any here. Doctor Tebang Bomi, you are live on Twitter. Okay. I'm told we can start. So I'm going to speak in Yoruba and English together. As much as I would like to speak purely Yoruba today, I welcome you all in the name of Olodumare. Orúkọ tèmi ni Dr. Adébùkọ́lá Ògùndòyí. Inú mi dùn láti kí gbogbo wa lénìí láti wá síbi ìpàdé yìí. A dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ àwọn special guest wa. We thank you, Dr. Tukumba Olowo Dosumu, for taking your time to come. We thank you, Professor Shegun Badikiesin. Special thanks to Odisha for making this occasion happen today. We wanted to do this in honor of Chief Obafemi Awolowo's 116th birthday. My name is Bukola, like I said. I'm the Secretary General of Think Yoruba First Organization. We are a group of young Yoruba youths that we also decide to pick up the baton ourselves and get on the work of Yoruba success within Nigeria. Our organization is socio-cultural, it is socio-political, depending on the way you like to look at it. Our principles and ideas is driven strictly by Awoism. And as a result of that, we have decided mother today, Dr. Tukumbo, to come and discuss with us who exactly was Chief Awolowo, what exactly is Awoism. And he has also invited our distinguished guest, Dr. Shegun Badikiesin, who is an Awoist scholar, to come and educate us today. I believe that we have taken Awoism beyond the basic understanding of where it was. After Dr. Badikiesin gave his lecture, I think that you're going to be amazed with some of our take on how we redefine Awoism today, how we elevate it beyond where it was. We are very happy to have everybody here. Before I move on and let Ojike introduce our special guest more formally, I'd like to introduce some of my TYF members. They are all on Twitter, because on Twitter we have much larger audience. Probably, I don't know how many people are there now, but by the time we finish this lecture, about 30,000 would have listened to what we're discussing today. So it goes really far. I have the president of our organization is Mr. Bolariwa Oladimeji. I don't think he's on here. I think he's on Twitter. We have our secretary general, Mr. Kayode Oloko. A lot of people make up this organization. They are all professionals, youths, and people that are not in professional career as well. It's made up of the old, the young, the youth, the Western educated, the non-Western educated, market people. Just think about it. Just what matters, what binds us is really that Yoruba identity and the interest of the best interest of yours. Deportation policy. So people who've been shipped off to a hellhole prison else. Today also happens to be the coronation of the 46th Alaafin of Oyo, and which is a very rare event for people to witness in their lifetime. We feel very honored that this lecture is happening at the same day of the coronation, and we believe it's a sign of good things. Ilẹ̀ Yorùbá, Agbe gbogbo wa. I'm going to hand over to Odisha. Odisha, ẹ bá mi introduce àwọn àlejò wa pàtàkì. Ẹ bá mi kí wọn ní ọ̀ṣọ́.
Ṣéun àwọn oní Gẹ̀ẹ́sì wọ́n ti sọ Gẹ̀ẹ́sì tí wọ́n ṣùgbọ́n èmi ò fi bí àwọn Gẹ̀ẹ́sì sọ nítorí náà mo ti tọrọ gáfárà. Màá kọ́kọ́ fi àsìkò yìí dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Elédùmarè.
This meeting is being recorded.
Ọjọ́ ti tòní àdẹ̀ wá kí àwọn àgbààgbà àwọn ẹni bí ẹni àwọn ènìyàn bí ènìyàn bá wa péjọ ní ọjọ́ tó. Màá wá gbogbo wa tí ẹ bá wa pé àtótónu.
Madam Ajoke, I think you're mute. Okay, I think.
Nítorí àǹfààní wa àti àǹfààní àwọn màjèsí ní pàápàá jùlọ àwọn ọmọ ọgbọ̀n ọdún àwọn ọmọ 40 ọdún tí wọn mọ ẹni tí a pè ní Awólọ́wọ̀ mo ní irú àjọ ìṣiṣẹ́ pàtàkì nítorí ẹ̀ ní àwọn ẹgbẹ́ Think Yoruba First ṣe ní wípé ìbásàn kí a pe irú àwọn ẹni bẹ́ẹ̀ sí àjọ kí wọ́n bá lè mọ irú àwọn àgbà tó ti wà nílẹ̀ Yorùbá tí wọ́n ti ṣe gudugudu méje tí wọ́n ti ṣe ẹ̀yà mẹ́fà tí ilẹ̀ Yorùbá rójú ráyè ní ìgbà kan. Ní ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ìgbà tí mo bá ń bá àwọn ọ̀dọ́ sọ̀rọ̀ nílẹ̀ Yorùbá lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ báyìí ni wọ́n bá wọn sọ̀rọ̀ wọ́n máa ń ní ìgbàgbọ́ wípé àwọn ẹ̀yà ènìyàn dúdú wọn ò lè ṣe àkóso ìjọba ìgbàgbọ́ nù tí wọ́n ní àwọn ọmọ 30 ọdún ọmọ 40 ọdún wọ́n nítorí pé kò síbi tí ẹ̀yà ènìyàn dúdú wà tí wọ́n ti ṣàkóso síbẹ̀ máa ń rójú ráyè nítorí pé kí ni nítorí pé wọn kọ́ ẹ̀kọ́ ìtàn ò sí nínú ohun tí wọ́n kà tó bẹ́ẹ̀ gẹ́ tí wọ́n fi máa mọ irú àwọn bàbá Awólọ́wọ̀ àti ẹ̀mẹ̀wà wọn nígbà tí àwọn wà ní ìpàkóso. Mo ti rántí ìjọ́ kan tí ẹnìkan bí ọmọ 40 ọdún lé mi tó sọ wípé ìbásàn gan kọ́ má lé àwọn òyìnbó jáde kó ilẹ̀ Áfíríkà nítorí pé tó bá jẹ́ pé àwọn òyìnbó sì wà ń gbé bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ìlú wa rójú ráyè ju bó ṣe rí ní ìsìn lọ. Ibi tí ó yé òun tàn ń mọ òun ni wípé kò yé wípé àwọn kan wà tí wọ́n jẹ́ èèyàn dúdú bí àwọn bàbá Awólọ́wọ̀ àti ẹ̀mẹ̀wà wọn mú láti pe irú ẹni bẹ́ẹ̀ tó láti máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní ṣàlàyé irú ìfẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀. Ìdí ẹ̀ ni ètò tí a gbé kalẹ̀ yìí ṣe pàtàkì torí àwọn tí wọ́n ń bọ̀ lẹ́yìn tí ò yí tí wọn ò dẹ̀ mọ ìtàn. Màá kọ́kọ́ rọ̀ wá láti kí Ambassador Dr. Olatokunbo Awólọ́wọ̀ tí a pè wọ́n tí wọ́n sì jẹ́ sí àpérò wa ti ọjọ́ ti tòní. Èdè Gẹ̀ẹ́sì ni wọ́n fi kọ àwọn ohun tí mo fẹ́ kà báyìí ní ìkọ̀tẹ̀ mọ̀ bóyá kí n kà ní Gẹ̀ẹ́sì ni òkú bá lè yà àbí kí n ṣe ìpèdè túmọ̀ ẹ̀ ní èdè abínibí. Ẹ jẹ́ kí n kà ní Gẹ̀ẹ́sì kó bá lè yà torí mi fẹ́ fi àkókò ṣòfò. Ambassador Dr. Olatokunbo Awólọ́wọ̀ is the founder member and executive director of the Obafemi Awolowo Foundation, in which role she has over 3 decades curated national and international conferences bringing together leading experts and stakeholders on key matters of importance to Nigeria, the African continent. She is a convener of the HID Awolowo Foundation, an institution she founded in a subsidiary of the Obafemi Awolowo Foundation in 2016. She is Nigeria's former ambassador to the Netherlands and of the University of Bristol in London, School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, University of London, where she completed her postgraduate degree in 1979. Ambassador Awolowo is a recipient of many chieftaincy titles, including Yeye Onibudo of Ile-Ife and Yeye Oba Akadi of Remo Kingdom. Since her retirement from partisan politics in 1991, she has continued to play an important role as a public intellectual on matters of relevance to Nigeria and the African continent. Ọmọ bíbí inú bàbá Awólọ́wọ̀ àti yèyé HID Awólọ́wọ̀ ni Ambassador Ọlátòkunbọ̀ ṣe. Màá tún wá fi àsìkò yìí náà dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ alàgbà wa ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n tí a pe àwọn náà tí wọ́n jíjẹ́ ní wàrà ṣíṣà. Àwọn ni jẹ́ kí n sáré wú tí wọ́n jáde mi ò mọ ohun tí kọ̀ǹpútà ṣe ń ṣe ṣégede pé. We cannot live without it.
Ẹ wò ó lórí WhatsApp.
Okay. Ọ̀dà mo ti rí ní ìsìn. Ẹ ṣeun. Professor Ṣẹ́gun Gbádégẹṣin tí a pè yín tí ẹ jẹ́ ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò wa. Professor Ṣẹ́gun Gbádégẹṣin is Emeritus Professor of Philosophy at Howard University, Washington, D.C. Prior to his retirement, he served as the Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences from 2012 to 2014, Associate Dean for Humanities from 2011 to 2012, and Professor and Chair of the Department from 1992 to 2001. And from 2002 to 2003, his areas of research are ethics, theological and applied, social and political philosophy, and African philosophy. His publications include many books, authored, edited, and co-edited, chapter contributions in books and journals and articles. Ali Kadugu onírúurú gudugudu méje àti yàyà mẹ́fà tí ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n wa tí wọ́n ti ṣe àkànṣọ́ ní ṣókí náà ni. Èyí náà mọ̀ wípé gbogbo àwọn èèyàn tó bá jẹ́ pé ògbóǹtarìgì kí nǹkan bá dáa kí gbogbo àrójú ráyè oríṣiríṣiríṣi nǹkan ni wọ́n máa ń ṣe. Nítorí náà àti kí yèyé Dr. Ambassador Awólọ́wọ̀ Dòsùnmú adẹ̀ ń kí ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n wa Gbádégẹṣin wípé ẹ káàbọ̀ sí orí ètò wa. Lẹ́yìn yìí, màá wá fa ètò yìí lé alákòóso wa lọ́wọ́. Mo lérò pé mo ti ṣe ojúṣe tí wọ́n rán mi fún ètò náà. Ẹ ṣeun o, ẹ káre ẹ jàre ìṣẹ̀dálẹ̀ àrùn wá ṣe àṣẹ.
Ẹ ṣeun. Ṣé àgbọ̀n mi?
Gbóyè.
Okay.
Àgbọ́yé o.
Ó dáa. So, ẹ jẹ́ ká lọ sí ọ̀dọ̀ bàbá wa Gbádégẹṣin. Ṣé àgbọ̀n?
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Ẹ má bínú, mo connect lọ́nà méjì. So, ẹ jẹ́ ká lọ sí ọ̀dọ̀ bàbá wa Gbádégẹṣin. A máa fún arákùnrin tá à ń pè ní Jami Ẹdúnláyè náà láti sọ̀rọ̀. Tó bá dé àsìkò kan.
Okay. So a ti lè bẹ̀rẹ̀ báyìí.
Ó ti yá sà.
Okay. Thank you. Mo kí àwọn agbátẹrù ètò yìí fún ọgbọ́n àtòyé tí Olúwa fún yín láti gbèrú ètò yìí kalẹ̀ ní ìrántí bàbá tó tó bàbá, bàbá tó ju bàbá lọ, olóyè Ọbáfẹ́mi Awólọ́wọ̀. Ìrántí rere, ìrántí òdodo, ìrántí tiwọn nítorí gudugudu méje yàyà mẹ́fà tí wọ́n ṣe kí wọ́n tó fi ilẹ̀ bora bí aṣọ. A lè gbàgbé nítorí pé gbogbo wa la ní àǹfààní láti jẹ nínú iṣẹ́ ọwọ́ wọn. Àdúrà wa ni pé ẹ̀yìn tí wọ́n fi sílẹ̀ kò ní bàjẹ́ lágbára Olódùmarè. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ ambassador wa, Excellency Dr. Ọlátòkunbọ̀ Awólọ́wọ̀ Dòsùnmú. Ẹ kú àṣejúṣẹ́yìn, ẹ kú àìgbàgbé, ẹ kú àfọmọnìyàn ṣe. Mo gbàdúrà pé ìrántí rere ni a ó sì jẹ́ kí ìgbésí ayé ti gbogbo wa náà ó jẹ́ lágbára Olódùmarè. Gẹ́gẹ́ bí wọ́n ṣe mi fàní lórí nǹkan tí wọ́n gbé fún mi láti sọ, òun ni kí ni Awoism, ideology, legacy and contemporary relevance. Mo túmọ̀ ẹ̀ sí Awoism, èrò bó ṣe yẹ káyé rí ogún ìní àti ìwúlò ní òde òní. Ideology, legacy and contemporary relevance. Now, mo fẹ́ sọ ìyàtọ̀ àti ìjọra ẹni tó wà láàrin ìmọ̀ ọgbọ́n orí àti èrò nípa bó ṣe yẹ káyé rí. Nínú ìwé tí àwọn òǹkọ̀wé ń kọ, pàápàá jùlọ àwọn olóṣèlú, wọ́n máa ń gbìyànjú láti dá àwọn ètò pàtàkì tí wọ́n kà sí nǹkan tó yẹ. Wọ́n máa ń gbìyànjú láti gbé àgbékalẹ̀ láti dá wọn láre, to have justification for particular social, economic and political order. Bó ṣe ní belief system, ideology is a belief system. A gbé kalẹ̀ fún ìdáláre ìlànà àwùjọ, ọrọ̀ ajé àti òṣèlú kan pàtó. That is what ideology is. A lè ní àpẹẹrẹ méjì tí ó wọ́pọ̀ nípa èrò bó ṣe yẹ ká rí nípa ìṣèlú. Ìkan jẹ́ ìfẹ́ òmìnira, that is liberalism. Ìkejì náà, lẹ́yìn ìmọ̀ ọgbọ́n orí ni ká lépa, ká sì ní àbájáde lórí ìwádìí tó ṣe kókó nípa òtítọ́ pẹ̀lú àwọn ohun èlò ọrọ̀ ajé, ìwà rere àti òtítọ́ ìṣèlú. So philosophy is the pursuit as well as the outcome of critical inquiry into the nature of reality, including material, economic, moral, and political realities. Ní gbogbo ìgbà, èyí tó jẹ́ ìyàtọ̀ láàrin ideology àti philosophy, èrò nípa bó ṣe yẹ káyé rí àti ìmọ̀ ìjìnlẹ̀ ìmọ̀ ọgbọ́n orí ni mo fẹ́ mú jáde. Ní gbogbo ìgbà ni àwọn onímọ̀ ọgbọ́n orí wọ́n tún máa ń ṣe àtúntò tún yẹ̀ wò àwọn èrò tí ó gbé ipò wọn lẹ́sẹ̀ láti fi ìdí òtítọ́ múlẹ̀. So philosophy is always self-critical, always self-conscious, constantly revising the assumptions behind his or her position to reach the truth. So ìyẹn ni nípa ìmọ̀ ọgbọ́n orí. Now, lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí a tún lè sọ nípa ìmọ̀ ọgbọ́n orí àti èrò bó ṣe yẹ káyé rí. Púpọ̀ láti rí bí àwọn méjèèjì èrò nípa bó ṣe yẹ káyé rí àti ìmọ̀ ọgbọ́n orí bọ́n ṣe lè kan ara wọn, they intersect. Ìwádìí tó bá ṣe kókó, ìyẹn ni ìmọ̀ ọgbọ́n orí, ó lè jẹ́ ìpìlẹ̀ tí a fi lélẹ̀ fún èrò nípa bó ṣe yẹ káyé rí. The basis, philosophy can be the basis of an ideology. Ìfẹ́ òmìnira tí a mọ̀ sí liberalism tí John Stuart Mill, ọ̀kan nínú àwọn political philosophers, tó ṣe àgbékalẹ̀ rẹ̀, ó dá lórí ìwádìí tóun pàápàá ṣe nípa irúfẹ́ òmìnira, kí ni òmìnira àti kí ni ìṣẹ̀dálẹ̀ ènìyàn, what is human nature, what is freedom. Àwọn critical inquiry philosophy tó gbé kalẹ̀, òun ló fi ṣe ìpilẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ideology rẹ̀, ìyẹn ni èrò nípa bó ṣe yẹ káyé rí. Tá a bá farabalẹ̀ tá a wo gbogbo àwọn ìwé olóyè Awólọ́wọ̀ bẹ̀rẹ̀ láti Path to Nigerian Freedom 1947 sí People's Republic, a ó rí i pé àwọn ìwé méjèèjì yìí ni ó jẹ́ ìpìlẹ̀ ìmọ̀ ọgbọ́n lórí ìṣàkóso. That is the foundation of his philosophy of governance. Àwọn ìwé méjèèjì yẹn, àwọn ní ìpìlẹ̀. If you look at them carefully, you will see philosophy in its best form. So àwọn yìí ló wá fi ní Chief Awólọ́wọ̀ fi ṣe the foundation
Host,
of his
please check your
ideology.
connection. No, we don't want to lose this space.
Foundation, I mean, philosophy can be the foundation of ideology. Ideology can be built on philosophy. And that is what Chief Awólọ́wọ̀ did. Philosophy grounds his ideology. And his ideology was built on the foundation of philosophy. So I don't like referring to him simply as an ideologue or as an ideologist. He's a philosopher in the best sense of the term. Now, èrò nípa ìlọsíwájú nínú ìṣèlú, àwọn Chief Awolowo's Articles of Faith on Representative Democracy. Àwọn ìlànà ìgbàgbọ́ Awólọ́wọ̀ lórí ètò ìṣèlú aláṣojú representative democracy. Number one, there must be competitive elections. Ìdìbò ìfigagbága regularly. Separation of powers. Ìyapa láàrin àwọn ètò alágbára. Rule of law. Ìṣèjọba nípasẹ̀ òfin kì í ṣe nípasẹ̀ ènìyàn. Then ideological direction. Ideological direction, ìtọ́sọ́nà èrò bó ṣe yẹ káyé rí. The welfare of the people is the ultimate purpose. Àlàáfíà àti ìdẹ̀ra àwọn ènìyàn gẹ́gẹ́ bí ète tí ó ṣe pàtàkì jù. Nítorí náà, freedom for all, life more abundant. Òmìnira fún gbogbo ènìyàn, ìdẹ̀ra ìgbésí ayé tí ó pọ̀ sí. These are the articles of faith. And if we look at the achievements of the action group, Ẹgbẹ́ Afẹ́nifẹ́re ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ìwọ̀ Oòrùn nígbà tí olóyè Awólọ́wọ̀ ń ṣe olùdarí ìjọba, gbogbo a rí i pé àwọn nǹkan tí ó làmìlaka tí wọ́n gbé ṣe ó dá lórí one, èrò tó jinlẹ̀ tí wọ́n fi bẹ̀rẹ̀, that is the philosophical foundation, and then iṣẹ́ láti mú èrò yẹn láti mú lágbára sí i. So these are all, samples of what he accomplished. Voting by symbols in 1953, establishment of agricultural settlements, use of steel boxes and security printed ballot papers in 1956. As we know, even the opposition defeated action group, a noise and misinformation about the universal free primary education. It was the first, the opposition to defeat action group. Motion for the creation of a state from the region. If Awolowo did not mind that his own region will be depleted, he sponsored a bill and it came to fruition. That's when we had the Midwestern state. Election of a leader of opposition as the deputy speaker of the Western House of Assembly. Again, that was under his leadership. It wasn't winner takes all. The opposition was involved in government. So, gbogbo àwọn nǹkan wọ̀nyí kí n má gbà wá lásìkò, ó jẹ́ àwọn nǹkan àṣekágbá nínú àwọn nǹkan tí Ọbáfẹ́mi Olóyè Awólọ́wọ̀ ṣe. Now, let's look at the political structure, because this was one of his basic contributions to philosophical scholarship, to the scholarship of political philosophy. Chief Awolowo brought up the idea that there are principles of territorial divisions, and if a particular country should fail to observe the principle that applies to it, it is bound to fail. So, àwọn ìlànà méjì ló wà fún àgbéyẹ̀wò fún àwọn aṣáájú òṣèlú nípa pínpín àwọn ọmọ ènìyàn sí orílẹ̀-èdè kọ̀ọ̀kan. Let's say pé àti ní orílẹ̀-èdè kankan rárá ní gbogbo àgbáyé. Àwa ń dámọ̀ràn pé báwo la ṣe wá ṣe tá a fi pín gbogbo, a lè máa ṣe alákòóso gbogbo wa yìí bí gbogbo èèyàn ṣe pọ̀ tó lórílẹ̀-èdè ayé. Tó bá jẹ́ pé orílẹ̀-èdè kankan orílẹ̀-èdè ẹyọ kan ní gbogbo ayé, báwo la ṣe fẹ́ dá wọn sí ọ̀tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀? What would be the principle for dividing territories? One is individualism. The other is ethnicism. Individualism will divide territories into political nations based on the interest of individuals. Èmi fẹ́ lọ síbí, ìwọ fẹ́ lọ síbẹ̀, interest. Ethnicism will be the second one. Gbogbo wa a ní èdè tá à ń sọ, a ní àṣà tá a ní. So ká divide wa, ká pínra wa gẹ́gẹ́ bí èdè tá à ń sọ tàbí gẹ́gẹ́ bí àṣà wa. Now, each of these has its own challenges. each of the two. The first is problematic because individual interests are too unstable to serve as the basis of political boundaries. Tó bá jẹ́ pé interest mi lónìí ni láti jẹ́ ọmọ ìpínlẹ̀ Nàìjíríà, tó bá dọ̀la tí mo sọ pé interest mi ó jẹ́ ó fún mi ní àǹfààní láti lọ sílẹ̀ Russia, kò sẹ́ni tó lè mú mi sí. So there will be instability. The second, that is ethnicism or nationalism, is problematic because there is no pure homogeneous ethnic group in contemporary times, especially after imperialist contraction. Ari ní Nigeria, Ari ní gbogbo ilẹ̀ Africa. After Berlin Conference, àwọn èèyàn tó ń sọ Yorùbá, wọ́n wà ní Benin Republic, wọ́n wà ní Togo, and so on. So it would involve redrawing of the boundaries of our contemporary time. So àwọn principles méjèèjì yìí ó ṣòro láti fi wọ́n ṣe òdiwọ̀n nǹkan tá a fi lè yan àwọn orílẹ̀-èdè sọ́tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀. And this is what led Chief Awolowo to the idea of federalism as solution. Federalism as solution. And federalism is a political structure that respects the right of each culture or nation to a public sphere that it can call its own. Ètò ìjọba náà sí ìjọba àpapọ̀ nítorí pé ìpínlẹ̀ kọ̀ọ̀kan ní àǹfààní láti máa ṣètò ara wọn. We cannot have a unitary system where there are many cultures and languages. So this is what is referred to as cultural democracy. Èyí ni ohun tí à ń pè ní ìjọba ara ẹni tí ó fi àyè fún àṣà àti èdè. A sì lè pè ní ìjọba àpapọ̀ tòótọ́ through federalism. Ohun tí olóyè Ọbáfẹ́mi Awólọ́wọ̀ ní lọ́kàn nígbà tí ó dábàá ìlànà ìjọba àpapọ̀ gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìpìlẹ̀ tó ṣeé ṣe fún ìṣàkóso ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ẹ̀yà bíi Nàìjíríà, òun nìyí pé kí àyè lè wà fún àwọn ẹ̀yà kọ̀ọ̀kan láti máa ṣètò ìjọba ara wọn. Èyí nípa ṣíṣe òfin. We remember this from the People's Republic. The People's Republic. And these are the foundations. In fact, if you look carefully, you are not going to see a whole lot of philosophers talking about this. But that was his own major contribution to the idea of constitutional development. If a country is unilingual and uninational, the constitution must be unitary. If a country is unilingual or bilingual or multilingual and also consists of communities, which though belonging to the same nation, have over a period of developed some important cultural divergences as well as autonomous geographical separateness, the constitution must be federal. If the constituent states must be organized on the basis of language and geographical separateness. The third one, if a country is bilingual or multilingual, the constitution must be federal and the constituent states must be organized on linguistic basis. Any experiment with a unitary constitution in a bilingual or multilingual or multinational country must fail in the long run. Tí a bá dán òfin ìjọba oníṣọ̀kan, that is unitary government, tí a bá dán ní orílẹ̀-èdè ẹ̀yà méjì tàbí orílẹ̀-èdè tí ó ní ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ èdè àti ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ orílẹ̀-èdè, irú ìjọba bẹ́ẹ̀ ní láti kùnà ni. This was the foundation of his political philosophy. Between unitarism and federalism, láàrin ìjọba oníṣọ̀kan àti ìjọba ẹlẹ́yàmẹ̀yà. Fún ìjọba ìṣọ̀kan, orílẹ̀-èdè gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ ọ̀kan láì ṣe é pín. It must be a united and indivisible entity. Láti jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀, a ò tiẹ̀ gbọ́dọ̀ fi àyè fún ìpínyà tàbí ìyapa nínú ìṣèjọba. Remember, to keep Nigeria one is a task that must be done. But to keep Nigerian one is a task that must be done, may be okay if we also provide that basis for cultural democracy, so that it is not the center that will be dictating everything to the region. On its part, federalism respects the component units in a multinational or multi-ethnic union. For the unitaries, the many nationalities must be melted into one. And that is what leads to the idea of melting pot. Every culture, every language must be melted into one, which is an absurd proposition. It's absurd because orílẹ̀-èdè kì í ṣe ìkòkò, orílẹ̀-èdè ẹ̀yà kì í ṣe ìkànnì, kì í ṣe ìkòkò, kò sì ṣe é yọ́ bí epo, it cannot be melted. Èdè kì í ṣe ọ̀pá bọ́tà tí ooru lè yọ́. Ìkùnà ìlànà yíyọ́ àwọn ìkòkò ń ṣàfihàn ìwà ìbàjẹ́ tí ó wà nínú àwọn èrò wọn. A gbọ́dọ̀ dẹ́kun díbọ̀n pé a lè gbàgbé ogún wa kí a sì tún jẹ́ ara wa. We must not keep pretending that we can forget our heritage and still remain ourselves. We should embrace our heritage and bring out their virtues to bear on the future that we covet. Lórí ẹ̀kọ́, a mọ̀ pé eléyìí gan ó tún pọn dandan fún olóyè Awólọ́wọ̀. His defense of the right of education, we found that in the path to Nigerian greatness. And it's based on a philosophy of family relations. Àti ó jẹ́ ìbáṣepọ̀ láàrin ẹbí, láàrin bàbá àti màmá àti àwọn ọmọdé. Àwọn ọmọdé a mú wọn wá sáyé ni. Bá a ṣe ṣe iṣẹ́ yẹn, ó wà pẹ̀lú ojúṣe tó wúwo tí àwọn bàbá ńlá wa tí wọ́n dojú kọ láìsí àǹfààní ẹ̀kọ́ ìgbàlódé fúnra wọn. Àwọn bàbá ńlá, àwọn màmá ńlá wa, wọ́n fún àwọn ọmọ wọn ní ẹ̀kọ́ níwọ̀n agbára wọn, ẹ̀kọ́ iṣẹ́, wọ́n lè ya oko fún wọn, wọ́n máa fún wọn ní nǹkan tí wọ́n máa fi gbin oko tàbí tí wọ́n máa fi ṣiṣẹ́ oko. So the paterfamilias, the materfamilias, they were up to the task of education. They knew well that they had to train their children so they could assume their role as grown-ups. And as we also know, contemporary parents have the same instinctive urge to educate their children. So, lórí eléyìí pé bá a ṣe wà kó tó di pé a di ọmọ ìjọba, à ń gbìyànjú bó ṣe mọ nínú agbára wa láti tọ́jú àwọn ọmọ wa, láti kọ́ wọn lẹ́kọ̀ọ́. Nígbà tá a bá di ọmọ ìjọba tán, tá a di ọmọ orílẹ̀-èdè kan náà, ìjọba tó jẹ́ ìjọba orílẹ̀-èdè yẹn ó ti di bàbá fún wa, ó ti di màmá fún wa, ó ń láti ṣe agbátẹrù ètò ẹ̀kọ́. That was the basis of Chief Awólọ́wọ̀'s argument for free education. And there are 4 or so aspects of the argument. One is the ontological argument. A human being is a living soul which must be nurtured through sound education so that the man or woman retains that quality of being above other animals. Since many cannot do this by themselves, the duty falls on the state. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ni ò lágbára, kì í sì ṣe pé torí wọ́n lẹ, wọn ò lágbára tó bẹ́ẹ̀. So, ojúṣe orílẹ̀-èdè ni láti pè wọ́n lọ́wọ́. Ideological argument. The Nigerian state, to which citizens have voluntarily submitted, has a duty to educate children from the various ethnic backgrounds. Political economic argument. Rapid political economic development of Nigeria by Nigerians for Nigerians requires the full development and full employment of all Nigerians. To be fully developed is to be fully educated, and this is the responsibility of the state. Again, lórí iṣẹ́ tá a bá tiẹ̀ fẹ́ dàgbà gẹ́gẹ́ bí orílẹ̀-èdè, ẹnìkọ̀ọ̀kan wá láti dàgbà nínú ìmọ̀ àti nínú òye iṣẹ́ ìjọba ni láti mú eléyìí ṣe. And then there is the moral argument. The state is an institution with objectives to, among other things, protect citizens and promote the welfare and guarantee the exercise of their rights. It's immoral and unethical for the state to discharge its responsibilities to a small section of haves, while a vast majority of have-nots are neglected. And that is very important and crucial. Now, on the economy, lórí ọrọ̀ ajé, ní inú ìwé tí Ìfàwọ́lọ́wọ́ kọ Path to Nigerian Greatness, he identified the characteristics of an underdeveloped economy, deriving from 3 kinds of underdevelopment. Ìkan àkọ́kọ́ nínú àwọn underdevelopment yẹn ni àìnídàgbàsókè ọkàn, èyí tó ń wáyé láti inú àìmọ̀kan, àìmọ̀wé, àìpé nínú ìmọ̀ ẹ̀rọ àti nínú ìṣàkóso. Ìkejì ni àìnídàgbàsókè ti ara, tí ó wáyé láti inú àìsàn, oúnjẹ búburú, omi búburú, ilé búburú, àìráṣọwọ̀ àti ìdọ̀tí àyíká. Ìkẹta ni àìnídàgbàsókè iṣẹ́ ọ̀gbìn àti àìnídàgbàsókè tí ó pọ̀ jù, tí ó sì gbilẹ̀ láàrin àwọn olùgbé ìgbèríko, tí ó ń wáyé láti àìnídàgbàsókè ọkàn àti ara, àti láti àìní ìfipamọ́ àti ìṣẹ̀dá owó. These are the various types of underdevelopment, and they are responsible for the general underdevelopment of our nation. So, for development to occur, the citizen must be developed. Kí ìdàgbàsókè tó ṣẹlẹ̀, ọmọ orílẹ̀-èdè kọ̀ọ̀kan ó ń láti ní ìdàgbàsókè. So this is an economic argument for the full development of man and woman, of course. Lọ́wọ́ sọ pé gbogbo àwọn ènìyàn ní tálẹ́ǹtì àbínibí tàbí agbára, a sì gbọ́dọ̀ fún wọn ní àǹfààní déédéé láti dàgbàsókè. Nígbà tí gbogbo ẹ̀bùn tá a ní tó bá ní ìdàgbàsókè ní kíkún, ọ̀kọ̀ọ̀kan wọn gbọ́dọ̀ ní àǹfààní tó dọ́gba láti ṣe ìrànlọ́wọ́ fún ìdàgbàsókè ọrọ̀ ajé àwùjọ. In other words, when each talent is fully developed, they must be given equal opportunity to contribute to social economic development. The society, not just individuals, suffers when all talents in society are not fully developed. So tá a bá ń rò pé bámbámú mo yó, èmi ò mọ̀ pọ́mọ ebi ń pọ́mọ ẹnìkọ̀ọ̀kan, ká mọ̀ pé à ń ṣera wa ni. When every member of society, when their talents are not fully developed, the society as a whole suffers. Therefore, the solution to the problem of countries under development lies in the full development and full employment of every Nigerian, man, woman, child, adolescent. No economic revolution has ever succeeded or will ever succeed, whether green or otherwise, which does not give the prime of place to the full development of man. You can now see why he was so obsessed with education, why he was so obsessed with free education, so that every individual will have the access and the country as a whole will benefit from it. Now, Awolowo was a philosopher, as I said, and his philosophical reasoning has always been followed by action. It's one thing to reason philosophically to a sound conclusion. It's another thing to embark on it and make it work. And when he was in charge, when he had the opportunity to lead, as well as when he had the opportunity to lead a political party, namely the UPN, that reasoning, the philosophical reasoning, led to the development of the programs, pre-education at all levels, integrated rural development, pre-healthcare, full employment. These are the cardinal programs of UPN, and they came right out of the philosophical reasoning that we've been talking about. So a good national educational policy and program is indispensable to a good national economic advancement. What are some of the ideas and some of the developments, political action tí Chief Awolowo embark on nígbà tí wọ́n wà ní Western region in the economic sphere of development? Bàbá Awólọ́wọ̀ wọ́n ṣe ìgbéga ìdàgbàsókè àwọn ilé iṣẹ́ gbogbo pẹ̀lú ìdàgbàsókè iṣẹ́ ọ̀gbìn gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọ̀nà láti mọ àfojúsùn ìgbésókè tí kò ní ìdádúró nínú ètò ọrọ̀ ajé àti ọrọ̀ agbègbè èyí tí ó gbàgbọ́ pé ìjọba gbọ́dọ̀ rí dájú. And to that end of a never-ceasing expansion in the economy and wealth of the region, the government facilitated the growth of private enterprise, removed infrastructural obstacles, provided basic services, including the development of industrial estates. It was at that time we had Western Nigeria Development Corporation, Western Nigeria Finance Corporation, which was designed to make loans available to entrepreneurs from the region. And we know again how that worked out in practical terms. Now, around that time, when the Western region was booming, Chief Awolowo decided to make a recommendation to the federal government. He has now left Western region in 1959. He's now a member of the federal parliament. And based on what he has led and what has happened through his leadership in Western region, he made this recommendation in April 1960 to the federal government. He recommended the path to economic development, which Western region had taken. And part of his recommendation was that we should first ascertain the problems which required a solution. Kí làwọn ìṣòro tá a ní tó a nílò ọ̀nà àbáyọ fún? Èkejì, ká ṣe àgbékalẹ̀ àwọn ìlànà tí yóò darí ìjọba láti yanjú àwọn ìṣòro náà. Ìkẹta, ká ṣe àgbékalẹ̀ àwọn ètò pàtó láti yanjú àwọn ìṣòro náà. These were his recommendations, and then he proceeded, as is usually in his analytical way. He proceeded to concretize those recommendations. One, the problems facing the country. Ṣé mọ̀ pé ó sọ pé kí làwọn ìṣòro tá a ní? Ó dẹ̀ wá spell it out níbí. First is the paradox of wealth. Àrí ìgbọ́dọ̀ wí tí ọrọ̀ àti òṣì ń fẹ̀gbẹ́kẹ̀gbẹ́ ní orílẹ̀-èdè wa. Àrí ìgbọ́dọ̀ wí ní wealth and poverty. Poverty in the midst of plenty. Then miserable rural conditions, rural-urban migration, and urban unemployment. Àìríṣẹ́ṣe ní àárín ìlú. So, kí làwọn ìlànà tá a lè lò láti kọjú ìṣòro yìí, láti yanjú ìṣòro wọ̀nyí? He also brought those up. And part of it is that government must find means to promote the maximum exploitation of natural resources. We must accelerate the development of manpower and ensure the equitable distribution of the resource and wealth. So he suggested what the problems are. He identified the principles for solving the problems. What else did we expect him to do? And then on education as the bedrock of economic policy, he had concrete plans for resolving the problem of education. And that part of that is to develop agriculture and allied institutions, the promotion of education and health as pillars of economic development. and then meeting the challenges. At that time, as we know, education was the primary basis of development. The majority of our people were in agriculture. So agriculture was the primary basis for triggering the development of the country. So how do we meet the challenges? Àwọn ètò pàtàkì tí Chief Awolowo gbé kalẹ̀ ni pé àwọn inefficient methods of cultivation and production made the productivity of the farmers abysmally low and discouraging. The inadequacy of resources made it impossible for him to improve his methods. What is the solution? Again, education of and financial assistance to farmers. And then promotion of wealth for farmers. Láti gbé iṣẹ́ ọ̀gbìn lárugẹ and láti jẹ́ kí wọ́n lówó sí wọ́n ní nǹkan tó lè máa, and how does it come about that? What are some of the ways to promote the growth of wealth for farmers? Extension services were created in Western region. Extension workers were trained. Training was given to farmers on the prevention of diseases. Western Region Finance Corporation started a loan scheme to help farmers with the purchase of pest control measures. Subsidies were given to farmers through the marketing board to purchase chemicals to combat pests and diseases. These services provided invaluable help on all aspects of the cultivation of cocoa and oil palm, and that led to a boom in agricultural wealth. Gẹ́gẹ́ bá a ṣe mọ̀, ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn àgbẹ̀ ni wọ́n fowó kòkó, owó epo ni wọ́n fi rán ọmọ nílé ìwé tó fi di ilé ìwé gíga, and that is why Western region was the pace setter in terms of education, and that also now helped the development of the region. How is that not possible to entice the federal government at that time? But of course, that is another story. Cooperative farm settlements. Tabaranti, nígbà tá a ṣe àpérò Yorùbá nílé lóko, àwọn tí ó mọ̀ nípa nǹkan tó ṣẹlẹ̀ nígbà tí Chief Awolowo ń ṣèjọba, a pè wọ́n láti wá bá wa sọ̀rọ̀. Wọ́n sọ oríṣiríṣi bí wọ́n ṣe dá ilé àwọn àgbẹ̀ cooperative farm settlements sílẹ̀ àti farm institutes tí wọ́n dá wọn sílẹ̀ káàkiri. And the idea was to enable the trainees to acquire their own plot and stand on their own as productive members of society. For the development of Western region at that time. Now, I'm very much interested in this. Chief Awolowo's philosophy is a philosophy of self-determination. Ìmọ̀ ìjìnlẹ̀ nípa ìpinnu ara ẹni. This will be strange to some of us. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wa la ní mọ̀ nǹkan tó ṣẹlẹ̀ lákòókò yẹn. The government of Western Nigeria determined that it was in its interest to pursue its own economic policies. Wait for this, by rejecting funds from the federal government. And when the time was ripe, it did not hesitate to do so. So in 1955-56, the federal government of Nigeria suggested the termination of the regional plans. And what happened? Western region refused because the region was, quote, already self-governing. And nígbà yẹn, federal government fún ìpínlẹ̀ Àríwá ní 3.3 million pounds. Wọ́n fún ìpínlẹ̀ Ìlà Oòrùn ní 2.3 million pounds gẹ́gẹ́ bí allocation, gẹ́gẹ́ bí nǹkan tó tọ́ sí wọn. Ṣùgbọ́n èló ni wọ́n fún ìjọba Ìwọ̀ Oòrùn? 500,000 pounds. So, and dípò kí ìpínlẹ̀ ìwọ̀ oòrùn lóyè lábẹ́ olóyè Awólọ́wọ̀ kan máa pariwo pé báwo lẹ ṣe ṣe léyìí fún wa, the Western region opted to pursue its own 5-year plan from 1960 to 65 because, as Chief Awolowo put it, quote, we had enough funds of our own to execute our plans. Alówó tiwa, a nílò láti depend lórí owó ìjọba àpapọ̀. Tó bá jẹ́ pé ìjọba àpapọ̀ ní jẹ́ ká ṣe ohun tí a fẹ́ ṣe. And remember what that means at that time. 1955 was the beginning of free primary education, universal free primary education. The colonial government didn't like that idea, and that's why they wanted a termination of the development plan. But again, self-determination prevailed. I end with this. We have a legacy of deep thinking, hard work, and fearless action. Quoting Chief Awolowo himself, I have never regarded myself as having a monopoly of wisdom. The trouble is that when most people in life and in the position of leadership and rulership are spending whole days and nights carousing in clubs or in the company of men of shady character and women of easy fortune, I, like a few others, am always at my post, working hard at the country's problems and trying to find solutions to them. With them, the slogan always is drinking and dancing till daybreak. But with those of my breed, it is hard work till midnight or the early hours of the morning. Now, when out of the inflated emptiness of their minds they speak, they are only naturally superficial. Only the deep can call to the deep. When, on the other hand, others of my ilk speak out of the fullness of their minds, what they say more often than not command attention and sometimes appeals to the majority of the people. This is the difference, and that is Awoism. Àwọn ti lọ síbi tí ò sẹ́yẹlé, wọ́n ń bẹ níbi tí ò sádìẹ, níbi tí ò sími nìkan tí ń dá mi ọbẹ̀ nù. Wọ́n ń bẹ níbi tí ò sí kúrú tí ń gbádìẹ, mo kílékílé ilé ò jẹ mọ́, mo kànkùnkànkùn onílé ò fọhùn. Mo ní bàbá dókítà Ọlátòkunbọ̀ ńkọ́, ó re gbọ̀ngàn ìdájọ́ ni àbóròdé ẹgbẹ́ Afẹ́nifẹ́re. Wọ́n ní bàbá ti rè wálẹ̀ àṣà. Wọ́n ní bàbá oníwà mímọ́ ti darapọ̀ máwọn mímọ́, ó darapọ̀ máwọn tọ̀run. Àwọn akin tí ń bẹ lọ́hùn-ún wọ́n pọ̀ jù táyé lọ. Wọ́n ń bẹ lẹ́sẹ̀ olùgbàlà. Wọ́n ń kálelúyà sọ́ba mímọ́. Wọ́n ń kọrin ògo, ògo, ògo. Gbọ́ ohùn Awólọ́wọ̀ tó ń kọrin. Gbọ́ ohùn Awólọ́wọ̀ tó ń kọrin. Ó ń kọrin ògo, ògo. Ó ń kọrin ògo, ògo. Ó ń kọrin tẹ̀yẹ́tẹ̀yẹ́. Ó ń kọrin tẹ̀yẹ́tẹ̀yẹ́.
Wow, wow, thank you very much. A dúpẹ́ lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀, a dúpẹ́ gan ni. Àwọn èèyàn, ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ èèyàn ló ti wọlé nígbà tí ẹ ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní sọ̀rọ̀. So a kí gbogbo èèyàn tí wọ́n darapọ̀ mọ́ wa nígbà tí wọ́n ti bẹ̀rẹ̀. A jẹ́ kí gbogbo àwọn tó wà ní orí íńtánẹ́ẹ̀tì tí wọ́n ń gbọ́ nǹkan tá à ń sọ. Lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí i, lónìí à ń ṣe ìrántí 116th years ti bàbá wa olóògbé Ọbáfẹ́mi Awólọ́wọ̀. Nílẹ̀ Yorùbá, àwọn èèyàn tó bá jẹ́ àkàndá wọn kì í kú, wọ́n papòdà ni. Wọ́n sì wà ní ipò tó ṣe pé a sì ń pé wọn títí dòní láti fún wa ní ọgbọ́n, ìmọ̀ àti òye láti fi yanjú àwọn ìṣòro tó wà nílẹ̀. A dúpẹ́ fún màmá wa Dr. Mrs. Awólọ́wọ̀ Ọlátòkùnbọ̀ Awólọ́wọ̀ Dòsùnmú pé a pè yín ẹ̀dẹ̀ jẹ́ wa. A dẹ̀ dúpẹ́ fún gbogbo àwọn èèyàn tó wà níbí náà lónìí torí pé wọ́n ní òrìṣà tí a bá fi hàn ọmọdé ó máa parẹ́ ni. Ẹgbẹ́ ọ̀dọ́ ni ẹgbẹ́ wa, ẹgbẹ́ Think Yorùbá First, ẹ̀rí pé ó mú olóyìnbó dání torí pé aṣọ ìgbàlà ń dá fúgbà tó ṣe bí òwe ẹ̀yin àgbà. A ní láti béèrè lọ́wọ́ àwọn tó mọ bàbá kí wọ́n wá sọ fún wa irú ẹni tí Awólọ́wọ̀ jẹ́. Títẹ̀ ló ń jẹ́ Awoism, wọ́n dẹ̀ ti sọ̀rọ̀, ó ti kúnlẹ̀. I think èmi yìí wà ní bí ọmọ ọdún 7 nígbà tí bàbá papòdà, so mi ò mọ ẹni tó ń jẹ́ Awólọ́wọ̀. Ṣùgbọ́n ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ kan ṣẹlẹ̀ sí mi lọ́dún náà lọ́hùn. Mo wá wo orí tẹlifíṣàn, wọ́n wá ń sọ pé ẹ̀gbọ́n mi tó wà ńbẹ̀ wá ń sọ lọ́jọ́ yẹn pé Awólọ́wọ̀ nìyẹn, ó ti kú. Orin tó kọ nígbà yẹn pé ká tó rérin ó digbó, ká tó rẹ́fọ̀n ó dọ̀dàn, ká tó rẹ́ni bí Awólọ́wọ̀ òdìlé Olúwa. Gbogbo àwọn nǹkan yẹn kò ní ìtumọ̀, but that's probably the only memory I had of who Chief Awólọ́wọ̀ was. And of course, later on, kò sí ọmọ Yorùbá tí ò ní mọ ẹni tó ń jẹ́ Awólọ́wọ̀ tó bá jẹ́ ọmọ Yorùbá tòótọ́. Ẹ ṣé gan fún ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ tẹ́ ẹ ti sọ. Ká tó pe màmá wa láti sọ̀rọ̀ nípa bàbá Chief Ọbáfẹ́mi Awólọ́wọ̀. Gẹ́gẹ́ bí mo ṣe sọ, we have elevated Awoism beyond the scope of where you described it, which was really, really exceptional. You discussed at length the progressive ideology of Chief Obafemi Awolowo, the democratic socialism stance of Chief Awolowo. You mentioned so many things. It's believed that you have to build your human capacity and self-sustaining. I don't want to use the term self-determination because some people, there's a different ways to look at that term. But I think it's all about self-sustaining, the ability of the people to be able to control their destiny and express themselves. So many things you mentioned, and I think that is why people love him in Yoruba land. I don't think Baba was well understood when he first started, but over the years, so many people came to love him. I think because of the fact that he built them, and that action led to them building their children and children's children. All the farm cooperative initiatives, the free education, the development of the rural settlements. And we can see today in Yoruba land that there is a vacuum because all those things, they were built to last maybe for a century. And they're supposed to be built upon. And we see that the lack of the continuity of these programs has led to a great problem in Yoruba land. Our rural area are no longer a rural area. They're mostly occupied by some criminals now, for the most part, in most places. The farmers have since become paupers, to say the least. So, I just want to mention something before, and those folks on Twitter, if you can please come into the Zoom so that you can talk here, please. And because I don't know how to connect to you guys in Twitter, sorry. I don't have, my device is not connected to Twitter right now. I want to put a caveat in how Think Yoruba First has elevated the definition of Awoism. And that is the fact that we've extended Awoism to also include conservatism. While Chief Awolowo himself, you cannot describe him as an extreme conservative. But I challenge you that Awolowo was the most conservative Yoruba man that's ever lived. You're free to disagree with me. When you look at the actions of Chief Awolowo from the foundation of Egbe Omo Oduduwa, the role and the purpose of that Egbe in preserving the Yoruba identity, in solving the disunity among the Yoruba at a critical time. You must be a conservative in mindset for you to be able to do that. And we can testify that till today, the unity that he was able to put together, however imperfect, has been one of our saving grace in the Nigeria debacle. And also, when you talk about the preservation of the Yoruba origin, the role of Chief Obafemi Awolowo in bringing Ile-Ife back into the center fold of the Yoruba origin discussion, these are extremely conservative positions. If he doesn't care about the culture, if he doesn't really care about cultural preservation, why will he do that? Why will he put that university there? If Chief Awolowo does not care about the unity of the Yoruba, if he was individualistic, or maybe if he was parochial in mindset, if he doesn't care about the unity of the Yoruba, why will he put center in Ibadan? Why didn't he put it in his hometown? This, when you look at some of his very subtle actions, I am convinced more than anybody that Chief Awolowo was very, very conservative. He does not put the stamp of conservatism on his head because it can be limiting. But he combined what I would describe as a conservative, progressive, democratic, and socialist mindset of a person. And when you look at his stance on Lagos as being integral to the Yoruba land and the essence of keeping it in Yoruba land for economic prosperity in the future, that is conservatism. His position on Nigeria being a republic, I read somewhere recently, Chief Awolowo was not, he doesn't think that the term republic should be what Nigeria should be. And his reason was because the Yoruba kings and princes would not like that idea. As we all know, a republic is a country that doesn't have kings. So he recognized the position of our traditional kingdoms that we had before the British came in. And I think most importantly is all his actions in bringing the Yoruba in the Lorin Kaba axis back into the fold. Only somebody with a conservative mindset would think in such a way, in keeping his people together. Perhaps his progressiveness, because I believe that Baba believes so much that he can exemplify progressiveness to the point whereby everybody would be a conservative. Because why wouldn't you want your people to be the best that they can be? So these points that I've listed and some others are part of the reason why we have elevated his legacy, his ideals beyond the traditional ways in which people view it. And of course, it stands on ethno-linguistic federation for Nigeria. And Chief Awolowo said one thing in his autobiography. He advocated for United States of Nigeria, contrary to many people's belief. This is what Baba advocated for. He believed that you can have a properly structured ethno-linguistic federation and have a United States of Nigeria that will be formidable for Africa, considering our position in the world. If Nigeria, it's not too late. We're using this medium to advocate for that as well. I don't think it's too late for Nigeria to adopt all its policies because it happens to still be the solution to most of the problems in Nigeria. So I'm going to stop here. Thank you very much again, Professor. We need to get a copy of that and put it on our library for future purposes. We appreciate you one more time. Do I have anything to write first member on Zoom to address Dr. Tokunbo before we move to her? Okay. I don't think they are here. I think they are all on Twitter.
Can we make a volunteer observation?
Yes, please. If you can be brief, sir.
Okay, I shall be brief. My name is Muyiwajimo. I'm just like you. That was about primary 4, primary 5 when Shifabafemi Awolowo died. But for economy of time, let me zero in down to your response. Because to my own view, as a student of society, I don't agree that Baba was a conservative. When we talk of either conservatism in general terms, you may be correct. But when we narrow conservatism to political context, it's off radar with your interpretation of conservatism. Baba himself, from what I've read so far with Baba, claims and demonstrated that it's a democratic socialism, that is what he's practicing. When some of his political advisories, when some of saying he was not a argument that Baba has property that worth $1 million. As of then, it now said, for the fact that I have a property that worth $1 million does not mean I'm no longer a socialist. People should not take the ideas for the method. That was Baba's response to some of those.
Mr. Olumuyiwa,
yes.
Let us, we host our Twitter space every weekend, every Saturday.
Okay.
Have a lot of intellectual discussion. I would
be glad to be part of that because it was Dr. Tokunbo Awolowo that sent these links to me.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
We are the young Awoists.
Yes, sir. Yes. I don't want us to argue.
He's a member of the Lagos State House of Assembly.
Okay. I was a former member. I left last year, man.
Oh, okay. Nice to meet you. But you see, I love where you're going to because I expect it. You see, I expect that. And like I said, when you look at all the points that I listed, I don't know whether you were there when I was listing all my points.
Yes, I was paying attention to
not deny the conservativeness of Awolowo. I think if Awolowo is not a man you can look at from one window, you have to look at him 360 degree. His political ideology, he said it himself, democratic socialism. That's undisputable. I did not say that he was a conservative politician. But look at the action of the man and all the things that he did. And tell me that is not a conservative. I'm going to argue that until I go to my grave. Because there is nothing there that suggests that he doesn't value his culture. He doesn't value his tradition.
Are you aware when Baba died in 1987, the Prime Minister of Britain, his response to Shifabafemi Awolowo's death, Harold Wilson, not just the popular quotation people do say, the totality of what he said about Awolowo.
Let's move on. Don't let us make this back and forth because I want to get to Dr. Awolowo and Dr. Dosunmu.
No problem.
To be able to ask questions. Like I said, as youth, we are not going to be limited. We are going to expand our horizon and we're going to elevate his legacy. And that's just, I don't know, there's many things to say. Let's move on.
No problem.
And more appreciate it. Show you. Emma, worry. We have time and space for that. So let's go to Dr. Ma. Doctor, please talk to us. We would like you to talk to us as mother. Whichever way you feel you want to address us, please go ahead, ma'am.
First of all, mo fẹ́ dúpẹ́ fún gbogbo iṣẹ́ takuntakun tí ẹ̀ ń ṣe ẹ̀yin ọ̀dọ́ ilẹ̀ Yorùbá tẹ́ kó ara yín jọ as Think Yorùbá First. Inú mi dùn lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ nítorí wípé ọdún yìí ló pé ọdún 38 sí bàbá jáde láyé. Ẹ ti sọ lẹ́ẹ̀kan wípé ìwọ ọmọ ẹlòmínú yín ọmọ kékeré ní ìbò and primary nìkan nígbà tí bàbá jáde láyé. Ṣùgbọ́n nǹkan kan wà nínú nǹkan tí bàbá fi sílẹ̀, ẹ̀yìn tí bàbá fi sílẹ̀ tó jẹ́ kẹ́ padà sí nǹkan tí bàbá dúró fún. Lóòótọ́ ẹ mọ̀ wọ́n, ẹ ṣì kéré, ṣùgbọ́n nǹkan kan, there is something compelling about his legacy. Ó dùn mọ́ mi nínú lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀. Torí nǹkan tí bàbá lára fúnra wọn fẹ́, òun lè ń ṣe. His dream was that whatever he was doing will be built upon by generations yet unborn. Ọlọ́run á fún yín ṣe. Ọlọ́run á túbọ̀ ràn yín lọ́wọ́. Ọ̀rọ̀ tèmi lénìí ò ní pọ̀ rárá. Nítorí kí ni? Ṣe rí presentation Professor Gbadegesin. Ìyẹn gan ni mo fẹ́ kí a dojúkọ. Torí it was a phenomenal presentation. Ẹni tí ò tiẹ̀ mọ bàbá rí rárá, tí ò mọ politics Nigeria, tó bá gbọ́ presentation yẹn, ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ iye ló máa yé onítọ̀hún. Mo dúpẹ́ gidigidi Professor Gbadegesin fún iṣẹ́ tẹ́ ṣe, fún presentation. Well, a teacher will always be a teacher. A teacher will always be a teacher. In fact, èmi gan mo kọ́ oríṣiríṣi nǹkan nínú nǹkan tí ẹ sọ níbí báyìí lédè. Your shadow never grow less. Ọlọ́run á túbọ̀ máa ràn yín lọ́wọ́. A máa rí yín bá. Ẹ ṣé lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀. Mo láti kí n tó tún máa tẹ̀síwájú, ọ̀rọ̀ mi ò ní pọ̀. Mo láti jẹ́ kẹ́ ẹ mọ̀ àwọn tí àwọn Think Yorùbá First. I took it upon myself to invite quite a few people. Mo dẹ̀ rí wọn bí báyìí. Mo rí former governor of Osun State online, Ọ̀gbẹ́ni Rauf Arẹ́gbẹ́ṣọlá. Mo rí àwọn ọmọdé mi, Adédára Odùgúwà, he's in the UK. Mo rí Adéyẹmí Àyànkọ́yà, he's in Abuja. Ayọ̀ Ọ̀nàtọ́lá, he's in the UK. Mrs. Josephine Shoboejo, who was a UPN member of House of Representatives in those days, and so on. And so Dr. Fakbunda is online. Dr. Feintola Musadoni from Texas is also online. General and Mrs. Shoboiki, they are also in, at least I think somewhere in Georgia or in Texas somewhere. Pastor Omotiba, formerly of the Tribune. Ẹ má bínú àwọn tí mi bá dárúkọ Mr. Femi Oshosanya, the Tribune's company secretary. Ọ̀túnba Bọ̀dé Òsínì, a long-time associate of the family, and so on and so forth. Ẹ má bínú, Yinka Omishade, the son of Chief Omishade. Inú mi dùn pé a pè yín, ẹ jẹ́ wa, a máa pè yín, ẹ máa jẹ́ wa. Kí la tún fẹ́ mọ̀ nípa bàbá tí Professor Gbadegesin ò ti sọ? For the purpose of this meeting, mi ìdẹ̀ ní fẹ́ fi àsìkò wa ṣòfò. mo fẹ́ ká túbọ̀ dissect paper Professor Gbadegesin oore ọ̀fẹ́ ńlá ni fún irú èmi pé jẹ́ ọmọ bíbí inú bàbá Awólọ́wọ̀ àti màmá HID. Èmi ìpinnu tèmi láti ìgbà tí wọ́n ti jáde láyé ni wípé ó wù mí lọ́kàn mi láti gbé iṣẹ́ wọn lárugẹ. Mi ò tètè mọ bí mo ṣe lè ṣe, ṣùgbọ́n ìgbà tí Idea Foundation wá, mo dúpẹ́ lọ́dọ̀ Ọlọ́run wípé Ọlọ́run bá mi gbé. Ọlọ́run dẹ̀ rán àwọn èèyàn, àwọn ẹni bí ẹni, àwọn èèyàn bí èèyàn tí wọ́n ràn mí lọ́wọ́ láti gbé iṣẹ́ náà lárugẹ. Professor Gbadegesin is a member of the Advisory Council of the HID Foundation. Àti àwọn èèyàn pàtàkì lóríṣiríṣi ọ̀nà tí wọ́n gbé iṣẹ́ bàbá tó ń gbé sókè. Ní tí mo wá fẹ́ rọ̀ yín, ẹ̀yin members think Yorùbá first. Mo rí pé ọmọdé ni ọmọdé ni gbogbo yín. Mo dẹ̀ yìn yín, mo máa yìn yín o. Bí pé lóòótọ́ bí gbogbo yín ṣe ó rí dàbí pé gbogbo ẹ ti ṣe dáadáa. You are moving on in life, you are getting on in life, you are succeeding. Yet you have a passion for Nigeria, and your passion is based on the philosophy of Chief Awolowo, a philosophy which I believe, even tí n bá kí ṣe ọmọ bàbá mo máa ń sọ, I will be an Awoist. I believe in everything that is truthful because it is so logical. It makes so much sense for a country like Nigeria. Mo wá fẹ́ rọ̀ yín pé bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe gbé yìí, Ọlọ́run á bá yín gbé. Ẹ fi ṣe nǹkan rẹ̀, ẹ lò láti fi tún orílẹ̀-èdè wa ṣe. Ẹ kú iṣẹ́ o. Ọlọ́run á wà pẹ̀lú yín, Ọlọ́run á dá yín sí, Ọlọ́run á fún yín ṣe. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀. Ẹ ṣé o.
Thank you, ma. Ẹ ṣé gan. Thank you very much. So the floor will be open for questions. Like Dr. said, nǹkan kì í síbẹ̀ nínú lecture tí Baba Gbadegesin presenting. And, you know, I took some notes, but I'm just like, mélòó gan fẹ́ kọ́ lẹ̀. It's from bullet to bullet. It's just a lot. So we're going to open the floor for questions. But before I do that, Danny Edu, are you here on the platform? Are you here on Zoom, Danny Edu? Okay, Danny Edu is a young Yoruba young man that just wrote a book. He wrote a book called Ogaman. I think it's like a sci-fi, you know. It's fascinating. We have a lot of youth now. They're just taking things upon themselves to further, you know, the development of Yoruba land. He was going to tell us about his book briefly before we go on. I'm going to recognize the presence of all the special guests that were invited by Dr. today. Special, and I'm sorry, I don't have all the names. So Ralph Aregbeshola is in the audience. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you, Dr. Josephine Shoboejo. Thank you, ma, for coming. She mentioned so many names. I'm sorry. Everybody that is here, I believe that, you know, we value your time. We value that you took the time to come here and join us in this session. So, Emma Bino, Timi Oba, Be Orukoyi, and I know that you will understand with me as well. So I'm going to just start with Dr. Josephine Soboejo. I'm going to start from her. I see some hands were raised, so we're just going to start from her. You can go on, ma. Thank you so much. Let me start by thanking Professor Segun Gbadegesin. Honestly, I put something in the chat box. He has done a marvelous and presented a well-researched paper, articulated and erudite delivery. both in our language, Yoruba, and then English. I mean, he is a real professor. I mean, for those of us who are in academia like him, I can appreciate what he has done.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I'm speaking from US because that's where I live now. Like Dr. Tokumba Awolowo said. In fact, there's a point in time I was a little bit emotional because it's like Professor Badege, she brought me to memory lane. I remember those times we used to be in meetings with Papa as my leader, political leader, holding meetings, either at a Papa or in Ikene and everything. And I remember. I want to thank to the second point, Dr. Bukola, if I'm right, that is your name. And the Yoruba Think Force. Yeah. Think Yoruba Force. And I think Yoruba Force. You are doing a marvelous thing. Oni ohun tá bá ń ṣe, òṣà tá bá ń ṣe, tá bá fi lọ́mọ lọ́wọ́, ó máa parun ni. Fact that you youths are thinking about our philosophy and bringing this kind of talk. Honestly, I give you kudos. And God will continue to prosper you, to make you higher, and to achieve all your aims and goals. The third one is going to be like a question to Dr. Bukola based on what you said. I want to ask a question, not to Professor, but to you. Do you really think a conservative can advocate and strive vigorously for an egalitarian society? That's the question. Because each time I keep thinking, that's one word that we never forget. Baba stood for egalitarian society. And I know, like an elephant, everybody can see him from, because he was a complex person. Sometimes I find it difficult to still use words. But you can see him because of the complexity of his nature from various sides. You can see a part of him here, a part of him there. I don't want to take your time, but let me give you one thing. I will never forget Baba for what he taught me as a legislator. When we were in the Second Republic, when I was elected as a member of Federal House of Reps, representing Ikeja Federal Constituency, the 1004 housing estate for the legislators were not quite ready. So they decided to put all of us in hotels. They allocated me Ikoyi Hotel. The very first day I got to that Ikoyi Hotel, I couldn't sleep there. The phone rang, internal phone, because it's not the time of cell phone or whatever. And the hotel reception said, oh, please, are you please, can you hold on for Chief Obafemi Awolowo? I was stunned. To start with, I didn't know even Baba will know where I was. I just ordered for food, to have food in the house to eat that Baba now asked. I was asking around for my legislators, and somebody said some of you and the hotels given by the federal government. Are you telling me you don't have a place in Lagos that you can stay? Apart from, I said, yeah, I have my place in say, I don't want any of my legislators wasting unnecessarily federal government money. So I will advise you to go back home. I said, Papa, thank you. I'm sorry, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Honestly, even that food that I ordered, I just packed it and left. And throughout, until the 1,000 of poor residents was available. In fact, it taught me a lesson that even when they gave me Christian C in 1004, I didn't go to live there. I used it only for the office. When I leave I go there and it paid me off when Buhari and even when took over, when Buhari and everybody took over, and the military were treating us, especially those of us in UPA, as if we were the one in power, rather than the FPA people, treating us anyhow. I was safe in my house because I listened to my leader. And that is Baba Obafemi Awolowo for you. He will think about the nation first. how to make sure everybody is self-sustaining and you are not just wasteful. Look at the politicians who are there today. Look at them. The Senate, the House of Reps, look at them. Look at the more they are wasting the resources that to benefit the common people. Thank you, Dr. Bukola, for giving me this opportunity. Come on, let me just take 30 seconds to answer your question. I think that, the definition of conservatism can be relative. And based on that, in fact, the example you gave, Ma, that is fiscal conservatism. Baba minding, thinking about you cannot waste money with all kind of things. So it depends on where we want to look at it. I know that the term conservatism is definitely, for Yoruba generally, because it's not something that we're very comfortable with. I think even in one of Baba's book, he talked about conservatives as, you think they are regressive in the sense that they don't want to change and things like that. And he thinks that they are very limiting because they cannot. Exactly. So when I talk about me perceiving, rereading Awolowo and his action and describing him as a conservative progressive, I am not talking about the fact that he was rigid. I'm not saying that Baba was rigid. He was definitely progressive. And conservatism, progressive, oh my God, I can't say that one. You know what I want to say, Sha? So conservative and progressive, it seems like opposite, but it can also work together. And I think Baba exemplified it in the sense that it was conservative when it comes to his culture, when it comes to preserving his people's identity, when it comes to making sure that the people become the best that they can. I see him as a conservative in that regard. In terms of being rigid, not wanting to change, not wanting development, you cannot call Awolowo a conservative in that regard. In terms of not being, what is the word I'm looking for? Not being open to new ideas. Awolowo was not like that. He was innovative. He was an innovative person. He was a visionary. So I don't want us to be stuck with the word. I want us to look at the operation of the word itself and not the literal meaning of the word. So I hope I make myself clear. But thank you very much for that example. For me, I could connect to fiscal conservatism, from that, that's the way I see it. Let's, Dami is here. Dami, can you please quickly introduce yourself and talk about your book? We have so many people that wanted to talk and give us their wisdom today. So, Dami,
Can
please.
you give me the liberty of saying something really quick? This is Ojíṣẹ́.
Go on.
Fún àwa tá a bá fẹ́ béèrè ìbéèrè, ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ jẹ́ ká lọ sí ìbéèrè wa tààràtà. Torí tá a bá ń ṣe àdàlúdàpọ̀ ìbéèrè wa pẹ̀lú atótónu, ó máa ṣe okùnfà àìsí àkókò. Tá a bá béèrè ìbéèrè tààrà, ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn èèyàn wa tí wọ́n ní ìbéèrè a lè gbọ̀n mọ́ra. Ṣùgbọ́n tá a bá ń fẹ́ atótónu fún ìbéèrè wa, a ní lè tètè kó níbi tá a wà yá dẹ̀ ní lè gba àwọn ìbéèrè nítorí pé ọjọ́ náà. Ẹ ṣé wọn, ẹ tẹ̀síwájú dókítà.
Yeah, so Dami, Edu, please take 30 minutes. Then, I said 30 minutes. Okay. Take just like 3 minutes, please. Then I think I'm going to go to Dr. Fatmunda after you. So 3 minutes.
Okay. Ishigo. Ikale, orúkọ mi ni Olúwadámiláre. Ṣùgbọ́n àwọn ènìyàn máa ń pè mí ní Dami Ẹdún. Mo máa gbé ẹdún sọ Yorùbá àti Gẹ̀ẹ́sì.
If you can find it, I'll pay for shipping. What else I want to do now? I want to call him to see.
Akira, can you mute, please?
So as a Yoruba diasporan, I've written a book, which I guess is a reflection of my experience growing up in the UK and having Yoruba heritage. So the book is called Ogaman, The Birth of a New King. It follows the journey of a British Nigerian teenager who is living in a dystopian London, infused with Yoruba mythology. So a lot of the Orishas are featured within the context of the story. So the teenager acquires superpowers chaotically, uses them for his own selfish desires until tragedy strikes, which unveils a darker force threatening the inhabitants of the city of London. Tunde Adeyemi is the name of the teenager, and with his powers and the internal struggle that he has with what has been gifted to him, he must decide whether to fight this dark force or watch as his fellow citizens perish. And I guess the biggest reason for me writing this novel, which took me 6.5 years, was because I wanted to pay homage to the heritage that I have being a Omo Yoruba, and I think it was important for me to reconnect in my way to my Yoruba heritage by creating this story, as well as showing how there are how our culture intertwines with obviously the cultures that we find ourselves in. So in my case, in Britain, and what that looks like, where the cultures may clash, where they complement each other, how they interact with each other on a daily level, and I guess more specifically the character level. For Tunde being somebody who was born and raised in London, what his relationship with both is like, and how he relates to others within his culture, and I think just on a general level, reconnecting with heritage is what I wanted to capture in the story. So Ogaman, The Birth of a New King, is available in all bookstores. So if you go to any of my social media platforms, it's just Dami Edu on Twitter, Instagram, etc. And the book is available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Kobo, Google Books, etc. There's a link on all my profiles, so if you want to read or grab a copy, you can. And for those who are interested in reading maybe the first 3 chapters to make a decision, you can go to my website, www.damiedwin.com. And if you like the first 3 chapters, then read the book. So, Ishigo, thank you.
Sure. Thank you for coming and thanks for doing that. That reminds me of Toby Adeni. Is it Toby? I think her name is Toby. The young Yoruba girl that wrote that book, Children of Blood and Bones.
Yes.
Now adapted into like a series. So thank you. More of that later. So we're going to go now to Dr. Faponda. Dr. Faponda, can you please take 3 minutes? We're already 2 hours here. We have 1 hour to go. Take 3 minutes, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much. I salute the organization, Professor Badegeshi, for a very articulate presentation for young people. Of course, we appreciate Auntie Dosunu for keeping the flag flying. Information, Director of Research and Strategy of Afenifere Organization. And we are at a crossroad at this time. There is going to be an event next week, Thursday. I'm going to make a presentation toward defining what Afenifere will be like moving forward. And it has given me the avenue to study the books by our Papa Obafemi Awolowo afresh. I just read the People's Republic. I just read Thoughts on the Nigerian Constitution. And I just read the strategies of people. So I've summarized it in about 30 pages for my audience next week. But in concluding my presentation next week, I think I should now tell you what I think. Since 1999, we have been throwing stones to the political class. We have been addressing press conferences. We've been having newspaper editorials. They are in the fortress, the political class. All Yorubas are there. They're in Abuja. I live in Abuja. If somebody knows Fort Knox in America, that's the highest security facility. The political class, they're in a fortress. And they are not ready to, whatever you say outside defense, they are not listening, not interested. They will not do anything. So, are we not going to change our method? A boy like him first now, you have conferences and meetings, and we talk among ourselves, and then we go. We wish emotionally that somebody is listening, but who is listening? Nobody is listening. Absolutely. And we're in a defining moment. This is now April 2025. If nothing happens to bring change, the next elections will be done on the basis of 1999 Constitution. And it's 100% against what Awolowo wrote about in his books. If we don't bring what Awolowo postulated about, we're just wasting time. We're just wasting time. So I'm thinking in my mind for you to think we have to do something else. Advocacy, activism. The wall of Jericho in Nigeria is a national assembly now. We are not calling for a military coup. So how do we arrange to picket to just keep the pressure on the political class? All the ones who buy jeeps every 4 years and constituency allowance 500 billion naira. This is what they are focused on. If we don't really be like we attack wall of Jericho in the Bible, I know some are Muslims here. If the wall of Jericho do not crumble in Nigeria, all Awolowo stood for since 1960. In fact, these books were written in 1966, 1968, and 1969. So if we do nothing serious between now and December, and then the next election, 2027, 26, we are going to maroon. And what President Tinubu is doing now, I must say, he is putting all Yorubas in all positions. Just 2 days now, head of Bank of Industry, head of NNPC, when he leaves, if he leaves, Yorubas are going to be endangered in Nigerian politics because he must move to the Igbos or move to the Fulanis again under the present dispensation. So my charge to this body now, which I will also talk to our Senate group next week, we have to confront in a creative way the political class. Meetings and meetings and meetings like this. Nobody is listening. Mother, our auntie said, Adebishola is in this mood. Let me finish 1 minute. Adebishola is here. Now he's out. Maybe he's listening. But when he was there, he will never listen. Once you are in the government of Nigeria, you are enjoying the privileges. If you don't confront them, we are just wasting time. Okay. So let us just cut our work for ourselves. Our ideals are timeless, and they are what can save this country and save the Yoruba nation. We have to fight for it better than we are doing now. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. You spent more than 3 minutes. You're going to pay fine for going over the time.
I'll pay 100 naira. I'll pay 100 naira.
That one cannot do anything for you. It's not even up to $1. So anyway, everybody is asking for the best thing. I think they're listening. And I think that the president of the country, I think he cared. Positions are not political positions. I'm not a politician. I'm not into politics. That one, I leave that on the table. But I think he's trying his best to make sure that the roles are well distributed along the geopolitical zones. So, but like I said, let us keep this on Chief Awolowo's legacy. I think that the best part of it, like you brought the point home, is that all the propositions of the late stage are solutions to the problems of Nigeria. So it will make, I think it's going to make everybody be the best that they can be. Thank you very much, sir, for your contribution. I'm going to go to Dr. Omofolabo Ajayi Soyinka. Are you there, ma'am?
So I'm here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr.
Bukola.
Great job. And I'm so impressed by your organization. I will talk about that later. But I also want to thank for a really articulated lecture. And I salute Ambassador Dr. Thank you very much for your continuing Baba's work. A quick diversion. I want to say that I knew Baba Awolowo, but not directly. But I knew her because of my mom, who was, I would describe as one of the sweepers of AG in those days when they used to go to the rural areas campaigning on behalf of AG. So our household, my parents' household, we were infused with Awoism. And it was a great thing to be associated with. And I thank Professor Gbadegesin for bringing back memories and for the articulation of Awoism. My question is, do you think that Awoism is applicable to all we have to deal with in contemporary Nigeria and within the global, I want to say, turmoil that we are facing now? Awo, as you said, was a philosopher. He was an economist. He was an educator. But most importantly, anything he theorized, he would put into practice. So how do you think that Awoism would be applicable to our realities today? And just a quick note on the issue of conservatism, that when this was first mentioned, I said conservatism, Awolowo. But as you explained, I understood conservatism as to preserve our culture and to make sure that we are well educated, we are well equipped. So it's not, I didn't read it as a political conservatism, but like you said, cultural conservatism. So that's my contribution. Thank you very much. It's been a very enlightening afternoon.
Professor Gbadegesin, will you answer Doctor's question?
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Mommy Prof, thanks a lot. Yes, I think if two things. One, in terms of the analytical bend of Chief Awolowo, as I've explained, the philosophical reasoning about problems and the solution based on the philosophical reasoning, followed by action based on the solution. That is timeless, and that is without geographical boundary. So, yes, indeed, that method, political method, analysis is still very much relevant. But then the substance too. If you recall his articles of faith, one is that human beings are the sole dynamics in nature for development. And that if we do not empower them with education, development will not happen. Certainly, that is also applicable to our contemporary times. Thirdly, if you look at his major political contributions in terms of what type of government or constitution is adequate for specific countries, that is also very much applicable. Now, we are saying, since the Berlin Conference, we have seen countries break up. Even Russia, the former Soviet Union, has broken up in parts, making ethnicity and language the basis of their various political boundaries. Yugoslavia eventually broke up. So when he said that if you experiment a unitary constitution in a multi-ethnic and multilinguistic country, you are bound to fail. That is failure that he predicted. Other countries are probably getting by, buying time, but eventually we'll see what happens. So yes, the political, contemporary relevance is very much assured. Thank you very much.
So that one lè kọ́ náà lọ sọ pé kí n má wá sí gbọ̀ngàn mọ́. Màá ní láti lọ.
Bí bàbá gbọ̀ngàn tó sọ̀rọ̀ ẹjọ́ mo fẹ́ràn wa létí lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí wípé àwọn bíi márùn-ún mẹ́fà ló lọ sókè báyìí sí ọwọ́ tí lè bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ń ro ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ nínú wọn. Nítorí náà bí a bá lè gba gbogbo èyí láàyè ẹjọ́ ẹ lọ sí ìbéèrè tààràtà. Ẹ ṣeun o, ẹ káre ọ̀jàre òjíṣẹ́.
Ẹ ṣeun gan. Kódà ẹnìkan gan náà wà ara àwọn ẹgbẹ́ wa kan wọ́n wà nínú ìní tí mi bá pè wọ́n lénìí kọ́ mọ́ lọ lólú ẹ̀ kúrò nínú ẹgbẹ́. Nítorí I've never met anybody that love Chief Awolowo more than Mr. Oladimeji, also known as Bonka Ebiri. But before, so Mr. Bonka, if you are there, you will be coming up very soon. But I just take our question or what measure, she go just about the call on. Oh yeah. Boy, you are mute, sir. Dr. Adeniro Adebore.
Bàbá, how can you?
Mute around.
Oh, okay. Share the right. I think Baba.
Loud and
very
clear.
Good.
Hello. You are finished. Well done.
Hello, Tafi Abe. I want to congratulate my colleague, Shegun Badigeshi, for a very detailed
analytical presentation that describe what today is about. There was a fable about 7 blind people asked to define an elephant, and all they could do was touch parts of the elephant. The one that touched the tusk, an elephant was all tusk. To the one that touched the leg, an elephant was all leg, and so on and so forth. You know the drift. Awolowo was everything. To him, every human being was important. When you experience him only perhaps or largely about what concerns you. For example, I was run out of school in 1954 for not paying school fees, just in time for pre-primary education to begin January 17, 1955. So you will have thousands of people for whom Awolowo meant thousands of things, and the only thing, so that classifying him as conservative or liberal or this or that, they all fall under the umbrella, every human being is important. And so it's political philosophy, the cry for federalism, everything that we ever talk about, go to the Kuli and you will see that for him, every human being is important. And I think I'm going to be quiet I'm going to stop here, because on my own weekly program of Yoruba Gbode, we have opportunity to take this there. And so I want to thank everybody. I want to thank you for recognizing me, and I'm happy to be here, and I will be looking forward to the progress of Think Yoruba First.
I jẹ́ kí n lọ sọ́dọ̀ the next person tí mo rí ni Mr. Olúgbémiga Ẹkúndayọ̀. Ẹ má bínú tí mi.
From Gbọ̀ngán.
Gbọ̀ngán ni.
Ẹ má bínú, ọmọ Ọ̀yọ́ làwa láti Gbọ̀ngán. Ọmọ Gbọ̀ngán làwa látọ̀yọ́ Ọ̀yọ́.
Àwọn Ọ̀yọ́ rèé o. Okay.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, àdẹ̀kí yọ mọ́lẹ̀ bọ́ ṣe ń purọ́ mọ́ wa. Ṣùgbọ́n Prof àti màmá, mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín gan ni pé ẹ ti gbé ọ̀rọ̀ débi tí ó wà yìí, àti gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ kó wọn wá láti wá, ẹ wá kórè gbogbo wa jọ tẹ̀lé pé wọ́n wá láti wá sọ̀rọ̀, bí ẹ ti gbé ọ̀rọ̀ débi. Nítorí pé tí ọ̀rọ̀ yóò bá débi, kò ní dìtàn tí gbogbo wa máa gbé sọ̀tàdà máa gbé lò. Òun ni pé ẹ ṣeun gan. Nǹkan kan tí mo fẹ́ béèrè lọ́wọ́ Prof, òun ni pé màá dẹ̀ sọ lóyìnbó kó má bàa, torí pé tí bá máa sọ Yorùbá máa pẹ́ díẹ̀. Òun ni pé àwọn màmá Àjàyí Ṣóyínká wọ́n béèrè ọ̀rọ̀ kan nípa contemporary world kìíní. Ọ̀rọ̀ mi já sórí yẹn nítorí pé à ń bá ọ̀rọ̀ contemporary world issue ṣe é sìn lórí ọ̀rọ̀ nǹkan tó ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ láti 1884-85. Pé gbogbo wa a ṣe gbogbo ẹ̀ á ṣe é ṣe gbogbo ẹ̀ ń ṣe é ṣe. Nísìnyí ibi tí Nàìjíríà wọ̀, ibi tí wọ́n sọ pé Nàìjíríà wà sí, Yorùbá ti ń di pé èyí tó pọ̀ nínú ìwà ti ń sọ pé ó yẹ kí Yorùbá dá dúró. Ó ní ọ̀rọ̀ sovereignty ní ọ̀rọ̀ yìí. Èwo nínú philosophical analysis ni ọmọ Yorùbá lè lò láti lè fi jẹ́ pé a máa achieve sovereignty wa? Ìkíní. Èkejì, nípa ọ̀rọ̀ ààbò, ẹ wo nǹkan tó ṣẹlẹ̀ ní Uromi. Èwo ni ọmọ Yorùbá lè lò nínú wọn láti fi ṣe nǹkan tó máa fi tẹ́lẹ̀ ìyànjú sí ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn fún Yorùbá? Ìkẹta, òun ni pé ó ti pẹ́ sìn, ó ti fẹ́ ju 50 ọdún lọ tó ń sọ pé Yorùbá ò ní ṣọ̀kan, ọ̀dàlẹ̀ ní Yorùbá, gbogbo nǹkan bẹ́ẹ̀. Àwọn tí ò mọ Yorùbá náà ń sọ gbogbo yẹn.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Ṣùgbọ́n kíní yẹn ti ń di nǹkan kan fún Yorùbá, ó ti ń fa ìrẹ̀wẹ̀sì ọkàn fáwọn kan, nítorí pé tẹ bá sọ pé ẹ jẹ́ ká lọ, wọ́n ní gbogbo ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn náà wá kọ́ dàálẹ̀, wọ́n sọ pé àwọn ò lọ nítorí ẹ̀. Èwo nínú àwọn ìkíní yẹn ni ó tọ́ka sí nǹkan tá a lè lò láti lè fi gbá ìrẹ̀wẹ̀sì ọkàn yẹn dànù? Ẹ ṣeun.
Thank you very much. I thought you said you were going to say it in English, but that's fine. Number one, lórí ọ̀rọ̀ ìdádúró. I know that is, something that touches the mindset of many of our people, and I sympathize with it. But I must point out that Chief Awolowo did not advocate for separatism throughout his life. Even when he was going through all kinds of, challenges in his lifetime, politically, from his various antagonists, he never advocated for separatism. And he thought that Nigeria, if we get it right and follow his principles, Nigeria will be, that's the idea of the United States of Nigeria, that Nigeria will make it. That is why he advocated for those principles and insisted on true federalism. So if we are looking for principles from his philosophy to support, separation as we now advocate, we won't find it there. The unfortunate thing, I think, and I think I mentioned this before, yes, Berlin Conference did everything wrong. But we are now so intertwined that the only solution will be the insistence on true federalism. So that is the response to that question. Second question, I'm not sure I'm familiar with the Uromi thing. Maybe it's something that is recent. I'm not familiar with it, so I won't have a basis for answering that question. Okay. And I think the third point you made is about the discouragement and the disillusionment of our people. Well, if anyone would look at the story of Chief Obafemi Awolowo, he would be the one that should have been most disillusioned about Nigeria. But he gave us a legacy of persistence, a legacy of hard work, and a legacy of encouragement that if we set our hearts to it, we can achieve it. So that's what I think I will respond to about that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Like he said, Chief Awolowo advocated for United States of Nigeria. That is what he advocated for. And he also advocated for, I think, Chief Awolowo's major message is that Nigeria needs to be structured in an ethno-linguistic fashion for it to be successful. Without that, he predicted Nigeria would probably fall apart. So, I don't think there's much to emphasize on here again, other than the fact that Yoruba needs to be united with common goal, common vision of success. That is Awolowo's vision for us. And in our unity is what we decide, is how we can come together and decide our future together. Baba Fesoro. Yes.
Two sentences. In 1953, at a constitutional conference in Lagos, Awolowo, because every human being was important. Anybody. He saw that the been put together in 1814, the welfare of the people into account. A country was shaded because that they were getting ready to help Nigeria. Didn't he? So if he proposed that, it wasn't for hatred, it was to make sure that every human being was important enough to have peace. That's 1953. Ebola was in the Secretary of State. They threatened him with imprisonment. They call it oh.
This meeting is being
Thank you very much. We move on to we have for an hour to end this session. That will put us as 3 hours margin. And I know it's late in Nigeria. Please bear with us, ma. And all our special guests bear with us.
Okay,
hold on, sir. We have Governor Ralph Faregbeshola in the audience before. I don't know if he's still here. If he'd like to say one or two things, so that we can give him an audience. I think I see his iPhone. Governor, if you are there, sir, you can take the floor, sir. Yeah, a lot of people they want to discuss and we'll keep discussion. Emma, worry. I don't think that governor wants to talk, or whether he's no longer at his phone. I don't know. So I'm going to go to Mr. Kolawole Ayodele Oja.
Thank you so much. I have no privilege to call Baba my leader, but I was blessed to call leader, the only leader that I really have in the whole of United States and Yoruba land. Kushe, Yamilenu, Etu Famo Koyo, Eku Bobo, gbogbo tẹfẹ máa ń gbá ràgbègbè mọ́ ilẹ̀ Yorùbá bẹ́ẹ̀ dẹ̀lẹ́ ń ṣe ti àwọn tó wà wájú. Question mi ó máa take from security. Mo lérò pé a lè agree pé nínú ṣíṣe ìjọba I know pé bàbá ló jẹ́ fáwa. Ẹ̀yẹn bàbá Awólọ́wọ̀. Security ní ìjọba ó jẹ́ primary, ó fundamental. Ǹjẹ́ ẹ lè enlighten ni wà nítorí èmi ka ìwé bàbá gan mi lè sọ pé mo ka gbogbo ìwé wọn tán, but I was privileged in the college that I went that only section gbogbo Awólọ́wọ̀'s book ń bẹ. So that corner is usually my meditation corner. Baba Awolowo to me actually is more than politics. He is spiritual. Baba Oko je èèyàn tó deciding based on humanity alone. He is a humanitarian, but more he is spiritual. But me rí nǹkan tó show me ní iṣẹ́ security, particularly to protect the Yoruba land, given the kind of foundation in Nigeria, given the fact that Baba said you have to be a Yoruba first before being in Nigeria. And Moboya leader really educate me, can take advantage on Baba's principle on security, particularly for
defending and protecting Yoruba first. Question me, would you hear us out?
Okay, thank you, Kola. God bless you. The issue of security with respect to the position of Chief Obafemi Awolowo, again, we go back to his fundamentals. And the first thing about that is we must educate. If we educate, everyone will have a respected place in society. So even though we may not be able to eliminate all cases of insecurity, society will be better than if we do not educate.
Absolutely.
And that is what he focused on as Premier of Western Region. And that is why in those days, I remember even up until the early 60s, because of what he did when he was there. Western region, including Lagos, was pretty much secure, if we all recall. I was a student at Ifako Agege Teacher Training College in 1966. And I remember going to, my friends in Mushin, and we would all just sleep outside in the courtyard with the doors and windows wide open inside. Nobody's guiding them. Because people had means of livelihood. Of course, there were instances, we cannot rule that out, but the majority of the people have had something to do because of the education that they had. So that's number one. Number two, again, I know that people are invested in the idea of, Urbaness and regional, security. What is it that has made this difficult for us? It is because the majority of our people, not just, not just other ethnicities, even among our own Yoruba people, we have abandoned that importance that Chief Awolowo put on education. And those students, whenever I, go to Nigeria, I see myriads of heads just roaming about in Lagos, in Ibadan, even in my own village, roaming about without any hope, hopelessness. What does that lead to? So the people that we do not train, that we do not educate, they are not going to have any investment in the society. It doesn't matter how much advocacy, not how much preaching that we do to them. So we need to look into that. Yoruba land will be secured if we have a good educational system that also leads to the production of good students, good graduates who are employable. And those who are employable will also be employers. I think our own governments need to do something about that. Again, I go back to Aquero. We produced a report that we distributed to all the local governments, all the regional and state governments, about what happened in those days and how we can take advantage of what happened in those days now to secure our various environments. But again, it's up to us all. Thank you.
I think that, thank you very much. I'm sorry.
I'm here now. Please,
Yeah.
I'm here.
Okay. I think Mama is, she's, Magaji Adetimo. Oh, Magaji, I admitted everybody that is at the gate. I don't see Baba Magaji. Baba Magaji, if you're in the audience, please raise your hand, sir. So I have the president of Think Yoruba First here, Mr. Bolaniwa Oladimeji. Can you take some few minutes and address our special guests, Mama and Professor and everybody else here? Then we can go back. We can go back and take more questions.
Ṣé púpọ̀. Lákọ̀ọ́kọ́, mo ṣí fìlà fáwọn àgbààgbà tó wà lórí ìjókòó. Orí ìdọ̀bálẹ̀ díẹ̀ o, mo kí ìyá wa Dr. Dosùnmú Awólọ́wọ̀, mo kí yín sà mà. Mi ò tó dárúkọ orúkọ Awólọ́wọ̀ yẹn torí àwa tá a jẹ́ hardcore I would say radical followers of Awólọ́wọ̀. We see Awólọ́wọ̀ as an Orisha, and we see him as a sage. We've expanded the scope of Awólọ́wọ̀, and we believe one day Awólọ́wọ̀ will be properly immortalized in the annals of Yoruba mythology, legends, and even the pantheon of the gods. I also want to thank Professor Baba, Professor Emeritus Dadegeshi. It's been wonderful listening to you, and it's been beautiful also listening to that intellectual celebration. I also want to thank you, Jishe Baba. Oto Jometa, Oti London, that's your last. Adúpẹ́ Olódùmarè àwa pẹ̀lú yín bá ṣe mọ́ rí yín pètè ẹ̀jẹ̀ máa ń gbọ́ jẹ́ wa ẹ ṣé púpọ̀ sà. Mo kí gbogbo bàbá Adéníran, bàbá Mọ́dọ̀bálẹ̀ sà, ẹran sà, ẹ pẹ́ fún wa o. Ìyá wa Ṣóyínká, ẹ ṣé Dr. Fáfọ̀dà. Mo kí gbogbo àwọn àgbààgbà ọlọ́rẹ́kù, gbogbo àwọn tí mi ìdárúkọ gan, mo kí gbogbo yín. Dr. Bukola, mo kí yín o. Ẹ kú iṣẹ́ o, takuntakun, gbogbo executive tiwa ẹ̀ mo kì í pátápátá àtàyìn tẹ̀ ń gbọ́ wa. Ní ṣókí, one of the most important things that TYF is doing is that we observe that there is a bridge in communication between the young ones, the youths, and the older generation that actually saw Awolowo, ate with Awolowo.
Mr. Adimeji, you're muted. Oh. I can't hear you again.
This is the network.
Mr. Adimeji, we can't hear you again. Okay. I think bouncing. You can go on.
So, of us that are followers of Awolowo, that are youths, what we did was that many of us, because our parents, our grandfathers, my own grandfather was a cocoa merchant. They became millionaires during that time in our cocoa farm at Akano, in our local government in Ibadan. So they told us about the wonders of Awolowo. Our parents became learned erudite scholars because of the wonders of Awolowo. Unfortunately, I had parents that were actually scholars in history, linguistics. So some of us read Awolowo. Awolowo is more than a philosopher. He's a prophet. He's a seer. Everything he predicted about Nigeria is coming to pass one after the other. If you look at everything everybody's been discussing about what is happening in Nigeria, you read the book of Awolowo, it is there. The man is a prophet. And
because of who he is, a prophet does not, if Awolowo was a white man, a Caucasian, he would be in at the level of Winston Churchill, Otto von Bismarck, and all these powerful statesmen in the world. But because of the conundrum we find ourselves within the Nigerian Federation, and because of what the military junta came in to do, which was to erase the legacies of Awolowo. That's the bitter truth. That is why we are here, and we hope, pray that our fathers, we are begging pé kẹjọ ẹ má rí àwa youth pé kí ló ń sọ gan wà láwọn ti pọ̀ jù. There is no mentorship. Don't push us away. There is a serious lacuna. That is why we are happy that this kind of conversation is happening. Tótó ṣe bí òwe ìbà àwọn àgbàlagbà torí mi ò tó pòwe níwájú àwọn bàbá àti ìyá tó wà lórí ìjókòó. Wọ́n ní òòṣà tá a bá fi wọn ọmọdé. Ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ẹ mọ̀ nípa Awólọ́wọ̀ tẹ́ ẹ rí tẹ́ ẹ ṣe yìí. Tí ẹ bá properly mentor our youth, Awólọ́wọ̀'s legacy will be erased in the next 50 years. And we are happy. People are here we see. But we need more than this. We need more support. Because it got to a point, it's got to a time. It got to a time, Gonile Yoruba, in this current dispensation. Tribalism. Because they want to destroy the legacy of the man. And even in order to make Yoruba, to make Awolowo acceptable to the pan-Nigerian unitarists, some people started rewriting the legacies of Awolowo as if Awolowo was a unitarist. So we are begging and we are admonishing our people. Baba, and need to mentor youth. You need to invest in us. You need to replicate yourselves, sir, en masse. Awolowo replicate yini. Shall you replicate yin fún wa? That is why we are begging you. Request that we make fún yín because I'm speaking on behalf of Think Yoruba First organization worldwide, and as regards to a lot of Yoruba Awoists, because we are Awoists. And I also want to say this, sir, with all due respect, sir, en masse. Mo fẹ́ bẹ̀ gbogbo àwọn tó believe in secession. Ṣé tá bá ti wá sírò àwọn ìpéjọpọ̀ former governors, senators, House of Reps. Ẹ má jẹ́ ká máa gbọ́rọ̀ secession. Ẹ má gbé wá sí platform by. It is wrong. It is wrong. There is a deliberate plot and ploy to intentionally tag anywhere we talk about Yoruba Renaissance, cultural nationalism, we talk about Japan Yorubanism, Pax Yorubana. There's a deliberate plot and ploy to blackmail it and call it secessionists, which is not true. The Jewish talk about the Jewishness. They talk about a pan-Jewishness. So if you want, we want people to be comfortable to come to this kind of a platform. It is wrong for people to be talking secession here. So please, Mofiola Benyi, Ejo, it is not because you have freedom of speech. I know a lot of us, we mean well, but it is for the safety and the comfortability of our special guests. Former ministers, governors cannot be talking about secession, except you want to accuse them of treason. And TYF, we are across different countries, especially in West Africa, in Togo, in Benin Republic, where we have Yorubas. So, let's discuss the secession in Nigeria. Shefe kan lọ arrest àwọn èèyàn wa tó wà ní Benin Republic ní Prophet West Africa rú. So please, mo fi Olódùmarè bẹ̀ wá. I know we have a lot of things to do. We have a lot of things in our mind. That's why we are speaking passionately. Because I need to speak so that we protect this institution and we protect everybody here. Dr. Yawa Awolowo, Dosuma Awolowo. She's a former ambassador to Nigeria, ambassador to the to Holland, Netherlands. So somebody in that category, we are talking ideological, philosophical issues, Awoism, and now we are just on security issues. Awolowo has already said it. In a multi-ethnic country like Nigeria, without regional police, without state police, we are going to continuously have this state of conundrum, this state of entropy, this state of disorderliness. Awolowo has already said it. Baba has said it. So we know how to fix Nigeria. We know how to fix our insecurity. Because the way Nigeria is currently structured is free for all. Some people are interested in nation building, while some people are interested in empire building. That's what we are. So please, we need it's still built on Awolowo. Every solution to our problem is in Awoism. Every single solution. Some people say Awolowo is not perfect. To us, it means like a god. We don't nobody any apology as regards that. But I don't believe see Baba so that the vision of Awolowo can continue. Because that's the only way we can survive as a people. Because what we currently have is that there's no mentorship in Yoruba land, especially for the youth. How many of our political class, especially politicians between the age of 30 and 45, have read 3 to 4 books of Awolowo? How many? The Yoruba society of 2025 has become anti-intellectual. They become mediocre, and we are scared. Youths like us, they don't know anything about Awolowo. So that's what we are doing, and we need your help. Let us see. Moki gbogbo wa o, lórúkọ Olódùmarè, mo kí gbogbo yín pa ẹ̀yin bàbá wa, ẹ̀yin ìyá wa. Ẹ ṣé o. We hope this will continue. Ìyá wa Awolowo, a kí yín o. Bàbá Professor Gbádégẹṣin, a kí yín. Olódùmarè ó wà pẹ̀lú wa o.
We have so many
comments, Dr. Gundoyin.
Yes, sir. Go on.
Mo rí bàbá Mọ́gàjí Adéjùmọ̀, mo gbà wọ́n wọlé lẹ́nu ìṣẹ́jú mélòó kan sẹ́yìn. Mo ń béèrè wọn lẹ́ẹ̀kan.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni. Yeah. Okay, ṣé ti gbà wọ́n wọlé? Okay. A máa fún àwọn bàbá láyè láti sọ̀rọ̀. Ẹ jẹ́ ká sáré mú àwọn ìbéèrè ní, ẹ jẹ́ ká collect gbogbo ìbéèrè together kó máa wá answer. But àwọn ìbéèrè kan wá láti orí Twitter. And this question is for Dr. Awolowo Dosunmu. And they are saying that the Awolowo Foundation library, they're asking for a website for that. And let me see. They said that why is the foundation website not active? They also asked if the foundation ever lobbied with ex-vice president Osibajo to rehabilitate Baba's library, and what is the plan to make the museum, like they're asking for Awolowo's museum. You know, one of TYF member, we paid a visit to the Awolowo's library. Actually, I think it was last year. And this was the same question on our mind, that this should have been elevated beyond this. So I don't know, if you can take a few minutes. And also in the audience here, somebody was asking for Awolowo Leadership Institute. Actually, TYF has a project in that regard. But if there's anything else that has been done as well about Awolowo Leadership Institute, if you can please just let us know, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Actually, the Obafemi Awolowo Foundation set up a leadership center for leadership studies many years ago, but a few things overtook that. And right now, the only aspect of it that is active is the Obafemi Awolowo Prize for Leadership Award that we do every 2 years to honor those we feel following the footsteps of Papa in terms of leadership. So the idea of a leadership institute is still on the table, but you have to realize that the Obafemi Awolowo Foundation is a non-profit organization. It depends on the support that it can get, and you'd be amazed that the support is not that forthcoming. So we do what we can with what we have. So we kind of try to prioritize, and we try to be creative in order to remain active and relevant. But a promise that I have made myself, that I keep saying, to remain a force. The Obafemi Awolowo Foundation website. Yes, we do have a website. It's active. I will put the address on the chat. It's www.obafemiawolowofoundation.com. So you can visit that. We also have a program which we call Our Conversations, at which we invite few young people, to interact. I think, Mogaji, can you please mute yourself? Mogaji Adejumo. So we have a program called Our Conversations, to which we invite just very few people to interact with older Awoists. We make it a cozy event so that they can get the most out of it just one day. They come with their questions so that the older ones can answer. And but we need a mentoring program. We need to put that in place. And I would dearly love to work with you on that, to take that forward. I'm sure there are any number of people that will be willing to come into our college of mentors at the Awolowo Foundation. That would be most willing to take. Fortunately, I'm one of the many people would have, simply because of the proximity and the closeness, family closeness. So I would be more than willing to share that with whoever wishes to listen at a proper forum for that, so that you can understand probably a little bit of why he did what he did, although even he was not able to properly put his finger on why he did what he did. And in some cases, it just ended up saying that, well, he felt it was divine. And I do believe that it was probably divine, because our interactions with him, the young man that spoke earlier talked about Papa being a kind of a prophet. Well, he quickly learned that when you had an issue and Papa gave you advice, you had better follow that advice. Otherwise, it always went the way he said it would go if you didn't do what he advised you to do. Always, always. So, there's a lot to share. A lot of people have asked me to write a book. I think it's probably be books, not just one book, about Papa, different aspects of him, and that I am working on. But in the meantime, I would be very glad to interact with people like you, younger people, so that you can kind of get into who was Paulo, why did he do what he did. I'd be very happy to share those thoughts with you. I'm very happy to work with you. I'm impressed with your group, and so please feel free to continue this interaction. Thank you very much. Can you reach out? Some people were saying the website is not working. Well, it's working. It's Foundation.com. Yeah, maybe they have the wrong one. Maybe they were going to .org. Yeah, maybe they go to Act, and some people just took it away. So it's now .com. I'll put it in the chat. Okay, thank you very much, man. Thanks a lot. And we will take you up on the offer. We would really appreciate it. I will feel very encouraged. Okay, I know that we're running out of time really fast. Joy might be after Dr. Rotimi, Dr. Rotimi, Emma Bino, go to Otumba HOO. I don't think you spoke yet, sir.
No, thank you very much. I'm sorry if I'm
Notola has been raising his hand. Okay, Mr. Ayon.
Who are really deep in Yoruba, one olótìtọ́ ìlú, ọ̀tá ìlú ni. And those who really were with Jesus Christ were the people that even took part in his betrayal. Not only Judas, some of them even denying him before Judas did his worst. What I just want to say is that most of our politicians will say a lot of Awo when they are campaigning. But as soon as they get to office, it's something else. Kéèyàn tó lè dàbí Awólọ́wọ̀, ó gbọ́dọ̀ ti go through nǹkan táwólọ́wọ̀ go through. Kò lè sí Awólọ́wọ̀ méjì in this our generation. We should not deceive ourselves. Now coming to the group, Think Yoruba First. I could say that you are trying to re-engineer Awoism. But we heard a lot about people who we refer to as committed Awoists, who have really disappointed Yorubas, who have really disappointed Nigerians when they had the opportunity of some political offices. I just wish this group is not really for seeking political relevance. A group of youth seeking political relevance in the emerging dispensation 2027 that we are looking at ahead. So I'll just urge us to be genuine in our pursuit of what we are doing. That's the only way we can get good result. Awo was known for excellence. Awo was a moralist to the core. He was a Democrat. And he towered above even his contemporaries. Anybody can use Awo's cap. They can use Awo's glasses. They are not like Awo. So we should not be deceived. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for saying that. Let me say something. I live in the United States of America. 2027 is tomorrow. If I want to contest for political office, I should be in Nigeria by now. A lot of the people that are part of Think Yoruba First, they live actually in the diaspora. That's why some people say, what is wrong with you guys? You are not even in Nigeria. You are causing problems for us. So, and political aspiration, well, I don't know what is in my future as a person. Chief Awolowo himself, when people accused him that Awolowo was doing something because he wanted to be president, and he said it's not wrong for him to have aspiration to be president. As a human being, he wants the best. But that is not the reason why he was doing the right thing. He was doing the right thing because the right things were right. Mm-hmm. So I, Dr. Bukola, I don't know what's in my future politically. I'm not a politician. I've never participated in politics. And I came into Yoruba nationalism about 20 years ago when I came to the US, and I met Dr. Mayowa. He was my mentor. Anywhere I go, I always mention when it gets to that. And he afflicted me with this problem. So I think he said that, you must have it in you. Nobody can put this inside of you. It's either you have it or you don't have it. So that is my journey to all this Yoruba stuff. And honestly, if you live in the West and you go through the West the way a lot of us go through it, you will become more nationalistic if you are a true son or daughter of your parents. You will come to appreciate what you have more. Mm-hmm. Because the way you get treated is going to make you understand that, you know what? I came from somewhere and I have value and I have to preserve it. As far as Yoruba political leaders, that's why we're doing everything we're doing. For people some people are hearing us now, they're not TYF members. I hope that these sessions will inspire them. Some of them are in Nigeria, they're going to run for offices. This is an opportunity for them to know how to do it right. Because a lot of the young youth we see today, which is what scares me the most actually, they don't have any model to follow actually. They don't. A lot of them actually do not know what Awolowo is all about. Everything you said today, they don't know. They just know Awolowo. They don't know any of these things. So this platform is also an opportunity for them to learn. Some of them are already in political offices. They're learning for the first time all of these things. And I hope they will implement it. If I find myself after I pay my student loan, my mortgage, and everything I have in America, I found myself in Nigeria and in politics in Yoruba land. Of course, I'm not saying that, but I'm not trying to become governor or anything like that in 2027. No, that's not what this is all about. But thank you very much, Baba, for your wise wisdom. And I hope everybody that hear him also, don't go and use the name of Awolowo just to get into office. Action. And that's what makes you a true Awoist. Okay. Baba Otunba, I'm going to go to Baba. I'm going to call Olódùmarè, báwo ni fẹ́ ṣe lédi wa? Ẹ ṣáà ká lọ ọ̀dọ̀ Bàbá Ọ̀túnba náà.
Ọ̀túnba
Mr. Rotimi máa pọ̀ lẹ́yìn Bàbá Ọ̀túnba.
Dr. Ronke Mogaji, àwọn mẹ́rin yẹn lọ́wọ́ sókè o.
Dr. Ronke Ogunleye, I see Dr. Rotimi also. I see Bàbá Mogaji, Egunla ló ń kẹ́ ìgbàlẹ̀ lábá fọ̀rọ̀ wọn ṣe. Ẹ má bínú tó ṣe bí òwe. Kọ́láwọlé Ayọ̀délé náà. Ó dà pọ̀ ti sọ̀rọ̀ tẹ́lẹ̀. Bàbá Kọ́láwọlé Ayọ̀délé ti sọ̀rọ̀.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni wọ́n ti sọ̀rọ̀.
Yeah, ẹ bá wa hands wọn down. So then, there is Bonka Idori. I don't see him here. I know he's in the audience. So we will go to Baba Otunba now. Yes. Then we'll take a couple and then we'll talk about the two Bonkas. And I think that's it. Oh, yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Mo kí gbogbo ilé lọ́kùnrin lóbìnrin. Mo dẹ̀ fẹ́ kí organizer àti ìyálóde group yìí, that is Madam Dr. Tokunbo and Awolowo. Mo rò pé tí mo rántí tó jẹ́ mẹ́ta. Ẹni tí mo fẹ́ sọ kò ní màá try kí n gé pépèpé. Yorùbá lọ bọ̀ yìí pé tọmọdé bá débi ẹ̀rù máa ń bà ní. Ìgbésí agbébadé yìí ọ̀rọ̀ bàbá Ọbáfẹ́mi ẹ̀rù gbọ́dọ̀ bà wá mọ́ tí àwọn náà tó àtàgbà. And I'm speaking from ẹni tí wọ́n wọ̀ bá from inside, not from outside. Then also Yorùbá lọ bọ̀ ní tí ọmọdé méjì bá ń gégi nínú igbó. Àwọn àgbààgbà ló mọ ibi tó máa wó sí. At 78, mo believe pé àwọn kankan wà tó yẹ kí observation àkótí bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí dictate kó máa sọ fún wa pé báyìí ni. The number one question I want to ask before I continue in Yoruba first. In present, and also want to quickly correct the impression. People like me, to let it is so much.